It worked. My new computer allowed us to go live. Welcome to Digital Charcuterie, everybody. So far, no technical difficulties, but I cannot put that in writing because who knows what's going to happen. I'm Andrew Fantasia, and I'm honored to be joined by two very special guests. We have Dave, the Diversion Architect, who is here for the first time making an appearance on this channel. He's going to share his wisdom with us. And we have the Meeple Monkey as well. Back for more fun and games. Guys, how you feeling tonight?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah. We're over this side of the world. We're sort of mid sort of cold season and stuff, but I'm keeping happy with all the hobby stuff. So yeah, it's all good.
Perfecto. It's I mean, we are in a mode now, all three of us, even though we all kind of live in different spots on the planet, we're in a mode where we're just as United fans, let me say, we're just waiting. Yes, we're just like, where's DC's update? Where's Marvel's update? Like, we're just waiting. And it gets tough to kill time sometimes. So hopefully this video will do that, especially for other fans watching, because this video is we're going to go off the rails in the best possible way.
I think
we're essentially doing a wish list, each of our own personal wish lists for the future of Marvel United. And any United fan can tell you that's probably a tall order. So Dave, you have come up with the perfect solution is to actually split it up into 4 very different micro lists. Do you want to go over quickly what those 4 lists are?
Sure. I feel like I probably should have talked about this amongst us, so we were clear on what I meant by this. But yeah, so the 4 lists are must-haves, which are things that I think, like, to me, are things that kind of are like no-brainers based off of what we've seen from previous campaigns, maybe finishing out things or that kind of thing. A new mode, some kind of new challenge mode that would be kind of shaking things up, maybe like a signature thing for the season 4, like, thing to kind of to hang it on. Crowd pleasers, which would be things that are like, things that might draw in people to Marvel United, maybe that are fans of other Marvel things that maybe haven't seen the thing that they need in order to kind of jump on board. And then Dream Big, which is just like whatever we really wish would exist in Marvel United. So, man, if I could have something, this would be it, kind of thing.
Perfect. Yeah, those are 4 great ways to look at it too, because if we try to look at this through a sort of catch-all lens, I can just imagine how overwhelming it would be. And all 3 of us have tried, right? Like Meeple Monkey, there's what, 8,000 One Piece characters, and you have to parse that out somehow, right?
Yeah. There's a lot. And I've got to admit, apologies, because my interpretation and just like literacy skills, like reading the title, like must-haves, I sort of my interpretation of the list is maybe slightly different sort of thing, so there may be a little bit of confusion and stuff there, but I'll try my best to stay on board. But I've already let the guys know that I've also cheated massively with my list as well, so there's a lot of interesting choices to come up. But I think so just to let the folks know, with my interpretation of the must-haves, I was reading that more as like what would you personally like to see, and then the crowd pleasers was more like, what do I think is like people are like, what will draw in the crowds, and possibly sort of and also those ones that I know people were clamoring for and calling out for to finish off teams and things like that. So I kind of like my crowd pleasers, like those big things to sort of draw in the casual sort of fans and that sort of thing, but also like the things that are going to get those diehard people that want to finish things off to finish those spots sort of thing. So that was my interpretation of those sort of things. And then the Dreamer Crazy Dream sort of one is that's where you're real crazy, like that would have been last campaign's Havoc in a jacket sort of thing,
right?
We're never going to see him. So yeah, so hopefully my list aligns somewhat with what we're trying to do here. So fingers crossed. See how we go.
I think I interpreted mine the exact same way. So we're at least
there we go.
Yeah.
Sounds
so
good.
we're gonna start plowing ahead here. I know obviously a lot of people out there. There are a lot of Marvel United fans who are like, yes, we want more. There are a lot of other Marvel United fans who are like, you know what? I got dupe. I'm good. I could have stopped at dupe. So I get it. There are people who don't want season 4 either, but everybody's welcome to come have fun with us as we just talk about our dreams.
Yes, that's right. It's just having a bit of fun. So
yeah. So we are going to start. Oh, and we're going to do a little rule here, just for everybody watching at home to understand. If we end up having repeats, which we probably will, list by list, we're going to hold off talking about the repeats until we get to the point where a repeat character is the highest anybody has ever ranked them. Just to keep from repeating ourselves as we go through the list. So if you hear one of us say, oh, I want Havoc in a swimsuit, and everybody else just doesn't talk about it till later, it's because we're waiting to get to the point where it's Havoc in a swimsuit. All right. With that being said, we're going to start with our top 10 must-haves. And Dave, I'm going to let you go ahead and start with your number 10.
Well, I'll start off with a little story. So the thing that really just floored me on season 3 was the 24-hour mark, and we got M from Generation X. And Generation X was like a big comic for me as a kid. So my starting off the list here is continuing Generation X, which is Sync, who's Everett Thomas, who's the guy who can just kind of copy people's powers, but he has this crazy rainbow effect that I think would be, I don't know how they would do that, but I think it would be just nuts if they had a multicolored aura translucent thing.
Oh,
yeah, that would be cool. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's something I hadn't thought about too much in the list as well. Is what's going to make really cool models, or give you options for those translucent or different colors and things like that. That's an interesting. That's good pick. I like it.
Yeah. Very nice. And for folks watching at home, just so you know, because Meeple Monkey and I didn't speak up in there, that means Sync is not on our top 10 lists.
Yes.
So now you know. That's how it works. There's a cat. The cat has their own list too.
I love the tail. At first, because I only just caught that out of the corner of my eye, I was looking up and I thought it was a different perspective. So I thought you had a dog as well. I'm like, oh my God, you got dogs and cats. But then I'm like, oh no, wait, that's a lot closer to the screen than I thought. That's a cat. Sync. So I don't, I'm not as familiar with Sync and a lot of these new X-Men, although sometimes I'm like, oh, the new, and then it's like, oh no, actually Sync's been in it since 1963 or something like that. But I'm not as familiar with some of those things. Yeah, as a 90s X-Men fan, Generation X. See, that's the thing. Finish off these teams. They gave us little bits of it, and finish them off, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, my finger is so not on the Gen X pulse, but I know a lot of people love them. So yeah, I am all for finishing teams, as you'll see in some of my picks here. Great. Okay, Meeple Monkey, what is your number 10?
All right. Now, I've been rapidly scribbling and crossing out and stuff, so I don't know about the actual order of these, but we're just going to go with my final, what I've got written down here. So this is a bit of a random pick because the character's name is random. So this is a really cool guy. I don't know much about him. I just remember in the campaign they showed us, I forget which character. So this is Marvel United season 3. One of the villains had him show up as a henchman. So when they revealed the cards and things like that, they showed henchman art, and this guy Random was in it, and that sort of brought back memories of I think it was an X Factor comic back when I read about 6 months worth of X Factor comics back in the day. I think it was just after the Executioner's campaign sort of era, and this guy Random sort of showed up, and he was kind of like a mercenary sort of mutant for hire sort of guy that was dealing with some bad guys, and then the X Factor showed up to take them down as well, and they kind of teamed up together, I think. But he was a bit sort of like a loose cannon sort of thing, but he just was really cool. He had this gross, like his ability was to grow these gross like hand finger tube gun things, and he was kind of gross, but he just was cool. He had this cool like loose cannon sort of badass sort of thing. So I really liked him, so I thought that'd be a cool model. I don't know much about him, but random, he's my number 10. Yep, I can count. So there we go. Yep, random.
Great pick. I remember his toy. He just looked like a biker mummy with like a cannon for a hand.
Yeah, right. I didn't realize there was a toy too. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, I think it was hard to find because it was one of those, because his hand was so messed up. Like it's expensive to buy him. Yeah, I like that, random. And I think Dave, I think you did some homebrew stuff, and you had random as like his own villain, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Oh. Not yet.
Okay.
I've got some other plans coming.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Get on that, Dave. If you make a random, I'll be very happy. That's good. And we've already got the art, right? Because we've got the henchman.
Exactly.
Art. We could maybe just get Erwin to do a few different poses and stuff, and
depending
on if he's a villain or a hero, I guess. So yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew, that means we're on your number 10. Is that right?
We are on my number 10. I just realized everybody in my must-haves list is either red or purple.
Spoilers.
Yeah, my number 10 is a little bit of a cheat because technically he exists thanks to us, and that's Hydro.
Oh. Aha, yes. Yeah. All right, yeah.
I mean, if for nothing else, then I want like a Seamon Hydro Man red mini with the blue effects, right? But I mean, it's Hydro Man, it's a Spider-Man villain. I want my Spider-Man villains, and he's one of the ones that just, I grew up with him. He's got that 90s flavor. Let's get him in the game, and let's see how they can do him differently than what we came up with.
Yeah, and we've got to get him with his Sinister Six mode as well, so you can put him in there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, that he's like, we do have a nice model for him from Big Head Chibis, but you're right. I'd like to see like a translucent effect as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that'd be cool. And I'm glad you started cheating already, because that's going to set the precedent. And B, I like that you've started including things that we've already made, because that may show up down the track too. So
I love it. All right, Dave, number 9 time.
All right, number 9. So continuing on with Generation X. So this character's name is Skin, and I actually really liked him in the Age of Apocalypse version. His 616 version, obviously there was like a longer form story, so he was like kind of growing into his powers, whereas Age of Apocalypse, a lot of them were already pretty badass, and he was very badass in Age of Apocalypse. So like, if you think of someone who can stretch their skin, you're probably thinking like Mr. Fantastic or something like that. This guy would like stretch out parts of his like skin on his face to make like basically like a web to trap people. It was nuts. So he's so weird, and I loved him in Age of Apocalypse. I don't think he ever got quite that badass in the regular universe, so I kind of want the Age of Apocalypse version.
Could he stretch his hand to look like Random's hand?
Oh, he could.
2 for 1 deal.
He like turned it into shapes, but yeah, he definitely was prehensile with his appendages.
That's cool.
Maybe, is there a character that exists that we already have, that he kind of the aesthetic looks a little similar? Like, is there anyone that he like? What does he look like? Hello to Alex.
He's got like gray skin. I'm trying to remember his first name. I think his last name is Espinosa, and I do not remember where he's from. But
maybe
he's like very skinny. He's very skinny in the but then like his like He has. I think they expressed it as something like he has like 6 feet of extra skin or something like that. It's very strange.
He's been on a rapid diet or something. But see, what'd be cool is like we just take an existing model and just like heat him up, like put him in some hot water or something, and then we could just pull him apart of it, and then you've got your own version of him. So
that is
see, that's
not a bad idea.
That's taking homebrew to a whole other level.
Right.
So get a heat gun and melt the Hulk a bit or something.
Yeah, that's
Stretch him
right.
out.
So if we don't end up getting this will never happen. But if we don't end up getting Plastic Man in DC, like there you go. You've already got your ready-made Plastic Man. You just take someone else and stretch him out.
No, this is fantastic.
There we go. See, a sort of crazy idea. That's there. Rockshire Gaming is backing us up. That's good. Great pick. That was a good one.
Yeah, skin's good.
Yeah,
All right. Meeple Monkey, you were on number 9.
All right. Well, I like how Dave was like keeping it tight. He was like, he's gone, okay, well, I'm going to work on Generation X and whereas I'm just going to keep the random thing going. I'm going to say whatever was next on my list here. Right. Did I cross that out? I think I did. All right. So we'll go with Shuma Gorath. Now, Shuma Gorath, I think I'm thinking of the right thing here. Is that the big thing that looks like Starro or something? Like he's a big tentacle squid thing with a giant eye?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
And he was in Doctor Strange as like a weird sort of it was like just like a beast that they were fighting or something, wasn't he? So he's pretty cool. I think they could make a big cool, like big giant size model for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think oh yeah, Disney will adapt the Age of Apocalypse. That'd be cool. You could make a big model for him. And the other thing I sort of like, it's a bit of an extra reason why I'd like to see it is because I know some of the homebrewers have made him as well. And in particular, one of the homebrewers who's making the Marvel versus Capcom sort of stuff. So I sort of sneakily also want it for the Marvel versus Capcom side of things. So you can have him, battling Ryu and Ken and all those guys. But yeah, I just think he's a big, cool model. Or a big cool monster, so he'd make a big cool model sort of thing. And we've got so many of these big characters now, like your Stature and your do they just call him Giant Man? Or Goliath?
Goliath.
Goliath, and the big dinosaur with Moon Girl and stuff. That like we need some bigger. I know we've got some big models, but like we need more of the bigger monsters just so we can have more of those big Titan clashes. I think would be fun. So yeah, Shuma Gorath is my number 9, and speaking of those battles, I think there's some pretty fun ones out there, and they're quite different too. So if you like Shuma Gorath and we don't end up getting him, check out the homebrew stuff. So yeah, there's a plug for the homebrew.
I like that pick a lot. And Simon, even if you just want to print us a dashboard and then we can paint a Cthulhu Death May Die mini red, and there you go, we're all set.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that'd be good. So we got all the tips and tricks. We're good.
Yeah. All right. My number 9 of a must-have is an anti-hero character. I think the world of Wakanda is sorely lacking in this game so far. That's why I want to see my buddy M'Baku the Mermaid as an anti-hero, because he can be a real jerk to Black Panther, but he can also be one of his best buds. So let's make that a reality. Let's bring M'Baku to the table.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that actually you're right, because like when I sometimes go, I want to do I want to line up all my Wakandan heroes like in a section in my display or things like that, or I want to do like a Wakandan battle or whatever. Yeah, there's I often think, there's enough of them because there's a few, but when you actually look at how many we got, there's not a lot, is there? It's a little bit lacking. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good pick. Yeah.
All right, we are on to our number 8.
Look at efficiency.
All right. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, so I could do more Generation X because I think there's a couple more, but I did only allot myself 2 for each team. So we are on to the New Mutants that are missing, and that the first one is Karma, who's a fun telepath, and she also has like a fun like robot leg. Or it's not a robot leg; it's like a prosthetic, I guess. But like, I think that would be a fun piece as well. I feel like we had somebody that has a prosthetic already in the game. I'm trying to remember who, but
Yes, everyone's favorite
Cyborg Spider-Man.
Cyborg Spider-Man.
the number one most anticipated character of all time.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll give that to Andrea.
Excuse me, coughing into the mic there, but yeah.
No, that's a good pick. I have not seen the New Mutants movie. It's still on my list. I haven't heard the best things, but I know that there's a lot of characters in there that have been untouched yet.
So I liked it a lot.
Perfect.
It's so like when I saw the trailer for it when we were watching. Oh man, it's the one that's related to Unbreakable.
Glass.
Not Glass. It's the second one that was like the one with the guy with multiple personalities or whatever. Yeah. So on the trailer for that, we saw the New Mutants, and I was like, "This is brilliant! Take superheroes and make a horror movie. Great idea. We haven't had one of those." And I liked it a lot. I thought it was fun. The characterizations I think were pretty good. And like we got a lot of New Mutants in there. And the antagonist is fun, and they set up something which will never pay off, but they had set up something because I think a lot of the Fox things were aiming towards connecting to Mr. Sinister and having that be the next big bad in the X-Men stuff. So there's another like little hint of Sinister in that movie too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That was the dream we didn't get to dream, was that Mr. Sinister live action.
Yeah, I remember quite liking that. It was fun, and I particularly liked Magic's the way they did. Is that her name? Magic is the girl who teleports into the things, and I like how they did Cannonball. He kind of wasn't what I pictured with Cannonball, like in the comics and stuff, but he was a fun the way they did him was pretty cool. And I like that the big demon bear thing that was in it. I really like that there's someone in the homebrew has recently done a demon bear thing, because that's something I like taking that team, like picking Cannonball and taking Wolfsbane and those guys and using him in Marvel United. But it'd be fun to have more of the actual bad guys from that sort of movie sort of thing. So having the demon bear is cool. So I'm looking forward to printing that out. That'll be cool. I feel like I'm finding every opportunity I can to plug some homebrew too. So apologies if it's a bit over the top.
I love it.
So but that's a great pick. Yeah, that's cool. I'm also really I keep sort of like sort of snapping because I keep looking down at my list and stuff, and then I keep thinking, wait, have I let one of you guys talk about something that's later on my list? So apologies if I do that, but yeah, all good. So so is it me or is it you, Andrew?
It's you, Mr. Meeple Monkey.
Hey, all right, I'm glad you're keeping us on track. All right, so done that one. We've done that one. So we are going to say now. I noticed someone in the comment. It was Mr. Creed, I think. Mr. Creed was saying he likes Jack of Hearts and that sort of thing as well. And it's funny that he should turn up because Creed, I think, is his name Graydon? Graydon Creed. He is my next one. I'm not sure how you would do him. But I think that there could be some fun because he kind of like, he's not the big guy that comes after you himself sort of thing, but he sort of instigates a whole bunch of stuff. And so I think he'd be a fun one. You could have him sort of, with his what do they call those guys? Friends of Humanity, minions and that sort of thing. You could almost sort of have I'd love to see the models of those little guys in their berets and stuff. So you could have a bunch of them like the Skrulls or whatever, have the Friends of Humanity box or something. But it'd be cool. Maybe even have him on a podium or something, because I think Big Head Chibis did Senator Kelly like standing at a podium, but I think having Graydon Creed, standing at a podium, yelling his hateful speech and stuff would be a fun little model to have, sort of thing. Yeah. Well, Dave, you had something you wanted to say?
If you want to see another fun take on Graydon Creed, so after you finish House of X, which everyone should read, there's a series that starts off. It's Sabretooth, and then there's Sabretooth and the Exiles, And then most recently it was a 10-issue arc in the Wolverine comic called Sabretooth War. And if you read through that, it gets into a lot of stuff with Sabretooth, and Graydon Creed's involved in it, and he's pretty cool in that. He's a lot more of a threat than he was as like normal old Friends of Humanity Graydon Creed.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. Because he's kind of a softball character, I think, in like the animated series and stuff too. He's
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's cool. All right.
I like that pick. Yeah, that's a nice different villain to go up against.
Yeah.
And just to get my plug in, Derek from Candy Studios. I don't know if he's fully finished it, but he was making a Graydon Creed as well. So yeah.
I like it. Instead of defeating him, you could like show him that he's got mutant blood, and then it just makes him go nuts.
Just make him really unhappy. Or just bring Sabretooth in, and they go, "You deal with him."
Yeah. All right, I'm on mine number 8, and as I look at my list, I'm like, why did I put this person above M'Baku? Because I do want M'Baku a little more, but it's okay. It is what it is. I went with I wanted to see more villains with water. Hydro Man wasn't enough for me, so I went with Tiger Shark.
Oh, okay.
A Namor staple. He's got the big thing on his head, like a fin-looking thing. Is just a Tiger Shark. He goes hand in hand with, I believe, Atuma. They're two buddies. But of the two, I prefer Tiger Shark, and I like the idea of seeing an underwatery Namor villain, because his world, even though it's a smallish world in Marvel, all things considered, it's not really represented in the game yet, besides Namor himself. So let's get him in there.
Yeah, that's a great, And
we've got art for him too, right? He was a henchman, right. I think, on Bob, maybe?
I think, either Bob or MODOK, one of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you said the name, I was like, oh, and I was like, wait a minute, my brain's telling me I've seen that before. Yeah. And you mentioned Atuma. Was that what you said, Atuma? Or
Atuma. Yeah.
Atuma. I just got him recently on Marvel Snap, and I'm like, who's this random dude, sort of thing. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. So now I know. Okay, so he's mates with Shark Guy. And then hold on, is there a guy named Orca or Orko or something? Orca? Is he in that same world of like Aquaman? He basically just looks like a guy dressed in an orca suit with the anchor or something as a weapon. I got him in Marvel Snap as well the other day, and I'm like, who are all these like fish guys?
I don't know that guy. That's cool though.
Now I'm trying to. Maybe I'm not saying the right name. Pretty sure it was Orca. Anyway, he helped me out in a game. I won a game with him the other day. Anyway, but yeah, same point you made with Wakanda. Like, that's a whole world of things. Like, you could have a whole box around like the underwater guys, and go with 90% more translucent bases or something like. You could really do a whole thing with them. That'd be cool.
Yeah, there's lots of pockets they haven't dug into yet, so here's hoping.
Yeah.
All right. We've made it to number 7, and we're all still alive.
Woohoo! We made it.
So my number 7 is continuing with the New Mutants, which is the other missing New Mutant, Magma. And she had a fun story. I haven't read the early New Mutant comics. I've been reading the stuff from the Krakoan era. But like, I guess she's from like a secret like Roman civilization, kind of in the middle of South America or something like that. But it looks fun. Plus, the fire characters look great. I love the effects of those.
We could have that. That could be the theme of the season. Is just like every model has a translucent effect.
Yeah,
that's cool. Oh no, I've just remembered one that I should have put on the list that I've. Oh well, see if I can.
I remember Magma from X-Men Legends, the video game. That was the first time I ever heard of her.
That's such a great game.
That was a blockbuster memory. Renting X-Men. Awesome. All right, Maple Monkey, number 7.
All right, I'm tempted to put that one I just thought of in, but I'm actually hoping that you've got it, Andrew. So I'm relying on you.
Let's see.
All right, so my new one, actually, you guys just before we jumped on, this is actually a new one to my list that I just wrote down. I had to cross some stuff out. You guys reminded me of something. Now, this one is again a bit of a cheat. So this might be the first time I'm cheating in this particular way, but it won't be the last. and that is I'm going to put more than one model. I'm going to put more than one character in a slot. So here we go.
Ooh,
So
okay.
this is because I feel like I can't just put like one of these characters in because they would be probably too boring on their own. Or except one of them. I think one of them is more beloved than others. But also, I think then my list would just be if I put all these different things in, I wouldn't have much variety. So this is what I'm going with. I want the remaining major members that I remember. I'm sure there's lots of other ones that have come subsequently, but from the Hellfire Club, I want the White King, the White Rook, the Black King. So I want Celine. I want the dude with the other hairy dude, what was Wayland or something. And I think there might have been one other, but like we got Sebastian Shaw and we got Emma Frost, and I think we got one other, didn't we? We got Mastermind or something. We got
That's
those
right.
three. So I don't know how many others there are, but my pick is the Hellfire Club. I want to finish off the Hellfire Club roster, but I don't know them enough to actually like list them all one by one. But I know I want that Wayland guy, and I know I want Celine, and I feel like Wayland by himself is not much of a pick.
Harry Leland is who you're thinking of.
Yeah, Harry Lee. Yeah, Wayland, Leyland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that guy. Yeah,
And Donald
Harry Leyland.
Pierce. Yeah.
Donald Pierce. That's the other way. Yeah. So Donald Pierce, Harry Leyland. We may as well chuck in Wayland Core as well, and then Celine. Yeah,
Celine,
the Black Queen.
yeah.
Is she the Black Queen? Is that what she is?
She's the second Black Queen. Well, the second Black Queen in the comics. Because the first Black Queen was Dark Phoenix.
Oh yeah, we may as well chuck her in as well. We'll chuck them all in. That's all my. Is that pick number 6? That's my number 6.
And is it like a Sinister Six box situation where they're all a team, but they're all also separate villains?
Yes, because that way I feel more justified in putting them
Love it.
into one spot. Yeah.
That is great.
I actually think that would be cool is to have like a Hellfire Club as the actual team. And to be honest, you can kind of already do that. I don't know if you've done that yet, Dave, with your Rogues Gallery. One of the things I love about your Rogues Gallery is we can put a lot of these ideas into place. Like I know you've got like a lot of, I think you or Derek put a lot of like different teams in. I won't spoilers, I won't go into more teams and stuff, but like like the Hellfire Club, we could build those out and then we'd get our dream there, sort of thing. But I want to see the official version. So
yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
That's
Hellfire
a great
Club.
pick.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, here's my number 7. I'm a little bit surprised we haven't had a crossover yet, and I feel like we're not going to have one here either. I feel like I'm the only person in the world who wants this, but I'm putting them here anyway. I want Red She-Hulk.
Oh no. I also really want Red She-Hulk.
Is this our first crossover?
List, okay. It's not on my list, but oh my god. Because it's freaking Thaddeus, what's his name? Daughter?
Ross?
Yeah, Betty Ross. Yeah. Like, you gotta have Betty Ross.
And I think, I don't know too much about the character, but I think and I hope that she will actually be red, unlike Red Hulk. Right? Because I think she's a straight up bad person when she's Red She-Hulk, right?
Oh, okay.
I don't think she's ever not double crossed people, but I think she has worked alongside people and then double crossed them.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So they might
they're gonna make
her current iteration has wings. I think she's Red Harpy now, but I would love either. Yeah.
Again, the Hulk pocket. There's a lot of characters in that Hulk pocket to reach in and grab.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because we got the Hulk expansion, right? We got the World War Hulk expansion, but it still didn't really cover a lot because it was actually one of the. Oh no, maybe I'm wrong with that. Is it one of the smallest ones? I feel like you don't get a lot of characters in there.
Yeah, that one was a little kind of back and forth. There's heroes and anti-heroes. Nelly, thank you so much for that donation, my friend. That's awesome. Welcome aboard.
Homebrew royalty right there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Well, in that case, all of the rest of my pick are My Hero Academia and Naruto. characters. I'm bought and paid for by Nell Gaming. I'm just gonna. His lobbying has worked. We'll just. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Red. I only just. I was like Captain America in that. When you just said that, I was like, I understood that reference because like I just learned there was such a thing as Red She-Hulk on my Facebook feed like yesterday. It like came through.
Oh, wow.
It was like something referenced Red She-Hulk, and I was like, oh, there's a Red She-Hulk, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's Red Hulk's daughter or whatever. So
yeah,
yeah, cool. Yeah, that's
yeah.
good.
I want to see her in here. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, we're on our number 6s already. Dave, what do you got?
All right.
Oh.
So Dan beat me to cheating. So here's my first cheat.
Ooh.
Yes.
So this one I feel like needs to be designed as a group, although I don't want to see the teamwork stuff because I really don't like that mechanic. But this is the 5-in-1, which are the 5 telepaths. They're also known as the Stepford Cuckoos. But they're like Emma Frost's adoptive daughters. I think later they're revealed to be her clones of some kind. But they're a lot of fun, and several of them have had their own really strong identities like established in recent comics. So I'd like to have them each playable, but I'd want them to work well together, but not have to be played together. So like. I think having that internal synergy, but without having like if you have another one of these in the storyline kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could do some interesting, ways of playing around with that. Maybe aren't too reliant on as a crutch sort of thing. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I was like, oh, didn't know if I should speak up then, but I won't. No, it's all good. That's weird. So you said we were up to our 6. How many have I done here? I thought I'd already done.
We're on our 6. 1, 2, 3.
I don't know.
Yep. We're on number 6. Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna keep going through my list, and if I run out of spots, like I'm just not sure what I've done here. Now this is one. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, one. Oh yeah, only 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've done 4. Yeah, let's do this guy. Yep. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. My maths is not great. I'm a teacher. All right. So this guy is, again, I don't really know much about him. He was hovering on my list of like crowd pleasers because I thought a lot of other people wanted him. But I know that the main reason I want this guy, I don't really know much about him, is that Derek from Kenji Studios made a really cool version of this guy, and I really like that version. So I thought, I'd like to see what the guys Andrea and the team come up with as well, and that is Mephisto. I think. Yeah.
First crossover.
Oh, okay, so I should announce first before doing a big long preamble, because otherwise I'll talk everything I want to talk about him, and then I'll say, and his name is this, and then so okay, we'll hold off. Okay, so we'll circle back to him. All right, there we go. So crossover. Yeah, there we go. First
Beautiful.
crossover. All right.
I'm glad our first. I was. Because of my next one, I was like, our first crossover has to happen soon. And I'm sure my next one, you guys will also have it at least on one list, and that is Miss Lilith. Nope. Wow.
No.
Okay.
Not only is Miss Lilith not on my list, but when you said that name, no registering of like I have no idea who you're talking about.
And here I thought Red She-Hulk was going to be inside baseball,
but I'm all ears. I'd love to hear more about Miss Lilith.
So Lilith is, I believe she is mostly a Doctor Strange villain. She is in the supernatural world. She's a goddess of. I'm not going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about because I don't. But I think she's like a goddess of death or destruction. She's got horns. She's very creepy looking. She was the final boss in that Marvel Midnight Suns video game that came out about a year ago. Big Doctor Strange villain. I think also big Ghost Rider villain. She's kind of up there with Mephisto in terms of supernatural Marvel baddies. So she's she's one I definitely wanted to add to the list because, again, the Supernatural pocket, it's a deep pocket, and we haven't
Yes.
touched it all yet.
Wow, there
Definitely.
really are a lot of pockets that like we need to fill out.
Right?
Yeah. Because even like we got a fair, well, I shouldn't even say a fair amount, but like, because I think they only really just started dabbling in it last season. But yeah, that whole Supernatural world, there's probably a lot of stuff to sort of plumb the depths of there, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
okay, Miss Lilith, yep, yeah, we weren't on the same wavelength there.
No. Good pick.
Yeah.
So I really do want to explore all these other. That's one thing that I've loved about Marvel United is I've learned so much more Marvel because of Marvel United.
Right?
You know?
Like, this is going to sound like sacrilege, but I had no idea who Dakin was. I had no idea who Agent Venom was. So I learned a lot about Marvel, and I want to keep doing that. I want to keep getting people who are like, I don't know who you are, but welcome. All right, we're into our top fives. Dave, you go ahead. As you do that, I'm going to commit a faux pas here and get up to close my blinds, but you can go right ahead. And
I want to go for it.
So this kind of pairs well with the 5 and 1, which is Kid Omega, Quentin Quire, and he's fun. He's got like these like translucent pink like constructs that he makes a lot of the time, like a pink gun or a pink catapult to like launch Wolverine. He's done. So I feel like that would be a fun effect. That pink, creation thing.
Yeah, we don't have pink yet, do we? In terms of
we have the Songbird's wings.
That's right, we do. Yes.
Yeah.
Are they pink or purple? Or are they pinky purple?
I think they fade. I think they might start out almost blue.
Really? Okay.
Remembering.
Oh wow, that'd be great if they were like multi-tone.
Yeah.
Oh, my daughter would lose her mind.
Omega level mutant. Yeah.
The Omega. Kid Omega.
And a great name too, Kid Omega. Like that's just a fun name.
Yeah.
Awesome.
that's apologies. That's another one that's going. I think actually, does he have pink hair?
He has pink hair. Yeah, I didn't know about him at all until I started reading the stuff.
Yeah,
but he had a really good role in the latest X-Force. He's been a big part of that.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
All
okay.
right.
Awesome. It's a Satana. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not very good at. Apologies to folks. I'm not very good at sort of like doing two things at once. So reading the comments and trying to pay attention is not my best.
No
but I can see there's lots of really great. I love that people are sort of putting in their ideas and that sort of thing as well. So that's also. I will pay attention to this comment. I want a full box of Spider Ham style people. That's good. I like it. Yep. Who are we up to? Me?
Yep, you're number 5.
Good. All right. So here we go. My number 5. We need Cameron Hodge.
Of course we do.
Yes. Now, myself, and I shouldn't just say myself because this project was actually a lot of people's input came into this one. So I've already made. I went back and started. And apologies for the folks who know this already. For boring, I'll just try and keep it brief, sort of. But I really liked. I went back and read the old X Factor comics because someone, the Discord said, "Hey, if you like X Factor, go back and check out the originals because they weren't even X Factor then. They were like the original X-Men, and they were doing some weird Ghostbuster team sort of thing." It was really cool, and I really liked the whole like reveal of like Cameron Hodge being a baddie and all this sort of stuff. And he was their PR guy, guy in the chair sort of thing. And then he was actually sending him out on dodgy missions and trying to generate all this mutant hate and stuff. So and at the time I sort of linked that to like, oh, it wouldn't be cool if you had to go back through your storyline and like undo all the storyline stuff that you did. That'd be really cool. And then a lot of people jumped on and helped me in the Discord. So Kinstrife and Lukey19 and guys gave us some ideas about they undo your work with so you're trying to like rescue civilians and defeat thugs, and then they're undoing that and robbing them from your card and all that sort of stuff. So those ideas didn't come from me. And then Dave, you helped us out with the whole when everything shifts over, you have the Doombot soldiers or whatever they're called, the smiley soldiers, they flip over and they appear, and then you have a secret base and all. You had all these cool ideas for what happens when things switch over. So it was a real big effort. So but I feel like that Cameron Hodge has done well. I think, pat myself on the shoulder, but like I think the team, we did a good job there, right, with Cameron Hodge. But if you want a real marketable Cameron Hodge who's like more interesting, that I think more people would want to have a Marvel United model of, then you got to go the real creepy, like severed head on a giant robot body, Cameron Hodge, or like the Cameron Hodge in his robot suit, or the Cameron Hodge who's like been melded into what's that thing called, the collective, the phalanx, yeah. Like there's a lot of like creepy Cameron Hodge stuff, that like big monster Cameron Hodge that you could do, and I think that's what I would really like to see done, is like that next level of Cameron Hodge sort of thing. So yeah.
And Monsters Cameron Hodge is, I believe, one of the signature New Mutants villains from Inferno.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That would
I think so.
Yeah, you could even, there you go, you could do a box and have like fill out the rest of the New Mutants and put Cameron Hodge as like one of the baddies or something there. That'd be cool. Yeah.
And that was your first homebrew, wasn't it? Am I mistaken?
Yes, I think so. I think so. But I remember, I want to say, no, he was. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I drew him out like little hand drawn
yes.
things. I actually put the hand drawn things, took photos of them, and put that into Tabletop Simulator to test him out on.
Right. And I remember with the glasses, and he had that smirk, and I was like, I love this.
And then I loved that Rick Nichols, one of the champions of the Simon Fanatics and the homebrewers and stuff. He did the art for us, and I love that he took that crappy little picture and made a really nice looking version of it with the glasses and the cool like smirk and stuff. Yeah, it was really cool. So
yeah,
he's really cool. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
All right, who's my number 5? My number 5 might be another crossover here. We're sticking in the supernatural world. We're sticking in the Doctor Strange world, because I want to see my buddy Aaron Mordo get some love in Marvel United.
Oh wait, no, keep talking. No, keep talking. I yeeted him from my list, so keep talking. He was originally there.
You treated him like the MCU. You had him held up, and then you're like, actually.
Just kidding.
Yeah, Mordo is the, I mean, this is probably a bad example, but he is the Venom to Strange's Spider-Man, right? He is the evil version of Doctor Strange. He's the evil Sorcerer Supreme. And I just like seeing that. I love when a hero has their villainous counterpart, their Venom, their Shadow the Hedgehog, right there. I love when there's just the dark, twisted version of the hero. And that's what Mordo is. And he comes with that extra baggage as being the guy who trained him. So he's got that going for him. He's very similar to Sinestro from DC in that way. Sinestro is like one of my top 3 favorite DC villains too. So I just love Mordo's whole vibe. I love the wizarding world, the sorcery world. So yeah, let's see him.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. And again, let's continue the plugging. Derek has made a really cool Mordo with his own like invocation deck sort of thing and stuff as well, which is really cool. So
yeah,
nice. if you like your Baron Mordo and we never end up getting him, there's a way you can get him. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, there's who's that? Bruno's mentioning some cool characters.
Yeah, Agatha, Nico Minoru. There's a lot of supernatural people. That's why I went with that for my theme for season 4, because there was just so much to do.
Yeah, there is a lot there.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of 4, that's what we're on now, Dave.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this character got introduced originally, but I've read a lot of the Krakoa stuff. I've read all the Krakoa stuff. So this is Armor, who's been a pretty hot request in the comments. Am I a crossover here, or is this just me?
Nope.
Okay.
We're just excited.
Yeah. This is the one I forgot about. Another one. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
She's another one that's like big pink shell of like armor outside of her. I think that would be like super fun. What I think I would do with that is actually have it be kind of like how Nemesis can have his helmet come off, is have the entire shell come off, and you have another figure with their own stand, and she can just be on the ground, and then just lift her up and then claps her in, and then that's a separate standing figure that's the armor snaps around her. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah.
Plus then you could paint it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would look great.
Yeah. I think that's like when I've been thinking, how would we do that? Because I know you and me, Andrew, we came up with the rules for that, and I've it's on my waiting list of art I'm putting through for Irwin. So now that I've actually sort of like got a way to actually get the art and stuff, because I was kind of just ripping stuff from the what's that game, Marvel Snap, before when I was trying to make the cards for it. So now, but we'll have a proper artist for. I shouldn't say that. The Marvel Snap artists are also proper artists, but we'll have one that I'm actually actually paying for the art and that sort of thing. So that'll be good. But that's a cool pick, and that way, like the way you described putting her together, I think that's the way to go, sort of thing. Yeah, have the armor as like a separate shell over the top. So yeah.
They made, way back in the day when Disney's Hercules came out, they made the Happy Meal toys where there was a little toy inside a bigger character, and it literally just opened up like that. That's all you got to do, Simon.
Yeah.
There you go.
We'll be happy with that. That'd be cool. Yeah, awesome.
Great, number 4. All right, you're number 4, sir.
All right, so this is this one. I don't feel it's a cheat, but I don't feel it's a full cheat because of what it is. And you and Andrew, you helped us out by stating that this would be totally legitimate. It's another multiple character one, but it's a multi-villain fight, and that is just because I want the models for it. Big Head Chibis are slowly seem to be releasing models for it, but I don't know if they'll get through the whole roster. And that is the Upstarts. I would love to have that gang of like kind of Hellfire Club-ish sort of dudes that just like super spoiled and evil sort of club members that basically go around playing this sick game of like hunting people, hunting mutants and that sort of thing, and to earn points and that sort of thing. And I think that's just a really interesting sort of concept for a team, and an interesting concept for a multi-villain fight. I know we've done one in the homebrew world sort of thing, but I'd also like to see the like what Andrea and the team do with that. But it's probably one of my favorite, maybe behind Cameron Hodge, is probably my favorite design I've ever worked on, is the Upstarts. I think they were my second one. It could be one of my One Piece ones, but I think Upstarts was the second one, and it's I really wanted to get into like a multi-villain fight with that, but just the idea that they're going around and hunting mutants, and also that they're competing with each other and backstabbing each other and all that sort of stuff, I think is a really fun world to play with in terms of like the game design part of it and stuff as well. So they're really cool. Plus, just having all their little intricacies of like how they sort of hate each other and their little rivalries and stuff, and having that Trevor Fitzroy guy and Sebastian Shaw, and if Simon did it, they might be able to work out a way to have a bigger roster, because I only picked 4, but I know there's been more than the 4. Even in the comics I was basing my version off, I had to cut Creed out. So Creed was in that crew as well, even though he wasn't a mutant. So and then you've got Celine. She was sort of like an instigator of it and stuff. So that the Upstarts would be a fun one, I think. So yeah, that's my number. What was it, number 4?
I hate those characters. I would love to beat them up.
Yes,
They're
right. Yeah,
they're
just
awful people.
just like what a gross concept for like a competition and stuff. So it's that perfect like real evil. There's no way they would be purple. They wouldn't be purple.
No.
It'd be red. They'd be red.
Yeah, I remember that homebrew, and that was when you showed how they compete with each other. I thought, oh, that's brilliant. I love that. And then I think you had Fabian Cortez in there, and he's a 90s staple for me. So I'm like, anybody from the 90s cartoon needs to be in this.
Yeah.
And Mr. Creed, if the Eternals don't get some love, I'm gonna be very upset, because that's like 10 characters right there that we're missing out on.
What? Do we not have the Eternals?
We have 0 Eternals, and that makes me sad.
My apologies to Mr. Creed, but I completely forgot. I didn't completely forget about him. I thought about the Eternals and went, oh no, we got them last season, and I just wrote them off and went, we've already got them. I think I was thinking of the Inhumans. So
okay, I always mix them up too. I always mix them up.
They're both these teams that just died when they got released in like the real world, right? You know, like
Yeah.
on movies and media, they just did not do well, or at least according to social media, they didn't do well. So I just equate them as the same thing, but I forgot that we don't have the Eternals. So yeah, they could be my number 6. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
They'd
they gotta
be a
be.
really fun design. I thought about them because they're definitely a
Mm.
project that I've been toying around with. Because so the movie, if you all saw the movie made this big deal about how like, oh, they're kind of like apocalyptic, they're going to ruin humanity by like eating the planet or whatever. That's not even their big secret in one of the more recent comics that was really fun. It's Only Death is Eternal. And they did such a beautiful, and I'm going to spoil this, but I think it's just so well done. Because in the beginning, you see Icarus, and he sees himself like over a kid's grave, and he's like sad, and he's like, he sees a vision of them, and so he's like, I need to prevent that from happening. So he finds the kid and protects them, right? And so then Thanos comes in. There's all this crazy stuff that happens, and by the end of it, you find out that the Eternals' big secret is that the way that they never die is that every time they die, the machine that is called Earth kills a random human and uses their life essence to recreate the Eternals, right?
Oh boy.
So that's why they're kind of bad guys, because every time they die, and they're pretty reckless, right? They just like, rush into things, die, come back, they're fine. So at the very end of it, Icarus has to stop Thanos, so he rushes in to kill Thanos, dying in the process, and the person who dies is that little kid. And it was just like, oh, so good.
Wow.
So good.
Wow, yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Right.
So,
And then they could do a lot with that.
Yeah.
So like
your
the
character gets
Eternals could
KO'd.
like never die. You'd always come back, but at what cost, right?
Exactly.
Love it.
Well, I think if your character gets KO'd, the player next to you has to lose their character and get yeeted out of the game.
That's perfect.
So that'd be cool.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Very
Get
cool.
some Eternals love in there, Simon. What are you waiting for? All right. My number 4. Let's go back to the world of the Hulk.
Oh, yep.
And
That's
let's
a good
start.
world.
It's a good world. It's a very untapped world, and we need to this I hope this is a crossover. We need the leader.
Oh,
We need the leader.
No crossover.
crossovers. Wow.
Good choice.
It's okay.
Good choice.
It's okay. It's a good thing. But
Good choice. Yeah.
The leader, I mean, he's already got a big head. Like the chibi art just does itself, right? But I mean, he's the arch nemesis of the Hulk, and we don't have him yet, and that baffles me. I don't know if it's a rights thing or what. The rights is always just like a road that I don't want to go down because it seems so confusing and very just sort of spasmodic in the way its rules work. But I'm hoping that with the coming of the leader in the MCU in Captain America Brave New World, that'll spur something and that they'll be like, put leader, because he's like a core box kind of villain. You slap him on a core box and everybody's like, put the leader. So I think that it's a matter of when, not if, with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised he's not in already.
Yeah. I'm I guess it speaks to my lack of knowledge generally about the cartoon, like the comics and stuff. Like, I don't know much about him. I do recognize that he seems to be one of those big classic villains, like from the past as well.
Right.
And I think you're right. I think it's because it's also kind of surprising in the MCU sort of thing that we don't have him yet. But I think it speaks to that thing of like where the Hulk's been in that weird limbo of like they can't really use, like, you know, they couldn't use him for a while and they can't make their own movie about him and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's probably all kind of tied up with that sort of thing, and maybe just sort of shows why we haven't even had like the Hulk so much explored and his realm of baddies in Marvel United too, just because it's that sort of just a bit of a weird space where they have Hulk at the moment sort of thing. But that's a good choice. He's one that, even though I don't know a lot about him, you're right. Like, I would see that box and I'd know, oh yeah, cool, I'd know he belongs there. I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy enough times. You know, that image of his giant green head sort of thing is you know, even though I don't know what it means, I know that look sort of thing. So
Right, he's like a giant pickle with a mustache. What's not to like?
That's right. Yeah, so that's cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
right, so-
interesting to see him in the new movie too. Interesting to see what,
Yeah.
because I think that actor that plays him is a pretty cool actor. So I'd like to see what he does with it. So yeah.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
Yeah,
I'm glad
yeah.
they're bringing him back.
Yeah.
All right, we're in our top 3, Dave. What do you got for number 3?
All right, so this is, I believe, from the same era as Armor, but I could be wrong. Definitely, I think he's from the same era as Kid Omega. And this is another translucent pink figure. This is Glob Herman.
It's not a crossover, but I was hoping you'd say Glob when you said Armor. I was like, oh, I hope someone says Glob.
I have no idea who this is, so I'm going to look him up right now.
Oh, mate. Oh, I'm looking.
He's so
I'm ready
weird
to see your
looking.
face.
He's like
when you see him, I'm going to be. I want to be watching.
Let's see.
I want to see your reaction. This is like one of those reaction videos. Glob Herman.
Glob Herman. Oh my god.
I don't know that he even has like powers, or if he just looks weird.
He's just an unfortunate. Yeah.
Wow.
Nell will tell you there's a lot of not mutants. What do they call them? Like quirk. There's a lot of quirks like that in the My Hero Academia thing, where it's just like, that's not a power. That's just an unfortunate circumstance. Like, yeah, I'm so sorry. You've lost the mutant power lottery.
He reminds me of Mutagen Man from the Ninja Turtles. I love that one.
Yeah. X-Babies, Chibi, X-Men into Chibi. Oh, yeah, X-Babies.
That'll be the 9th season.
That's right. Muppet Babies.
I think that we could maybe make a pretty easy. I'll have to look at that, because I wonder if we could do X-Babies as a new threat deck for Mojo and just have the art.
Oh.
Threat deck. Because I feel like it's still the same vibe. Like Mojo wants ratings.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be neat. Think about that.
Actually, Mojo is a great just the idea of Mojo and what he could do, like with different modes and stuff, would be really cool. You could have heaps of different modes for Mojo. You know. Yeah.
Sweet.
Cool.
Glob Herman. I like it. See, I'm learning about all these new characters. Now I want them. All right, Meeple, who is your number 3?
All right, just before I go to my number 3, I can't remember if you said this because I was laughing too much, but I actually would not like Glob Herman to be done anything like what they did for, or what we're saying they should do for Armor. I think he should actually be squishy. You know those things that you like, you squish and like the bubble pops out here. I think it should be like,
it's so gross.
There should be
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. There should be some little bones and eyeballs and stuff in there, and then you squish it, and they come to the front. You know, pop, pop. Yeah, I think that's how they should do him. Yeah, it should actually be pliable.
100%.
Glob. All right, so we're up to. All right, my top 3. This is where we get serious. This is where the must-have in must-haves comes into it. This is where Simon, you better get your act together. Like, start taking notes, because if Andrea or what was the guy's name? I forget the other guy. Tiago. If you guys are in the lurking in there, get ready to jot these down. Ready? All right. All right. This one is the number. This is the one I want the most in terms of, like, this is like, Havoc. I wanted Havoc in the last season, that sort of thing. Until I thought of the top 2, this is the one that I wanted the most. That's why it's top 3. See how that logic works? It's good.
Yeah.
All right. Richter. We need to finish off that X-Force team. Specifically, we need to finish off the X-Force team that battled the X-Factor and X-Men team in the Executioner's Song thing. We have all of them in that current era of costumes, except for Richter. And I'm aware that Richter's had some different costumes, so I'll be very unhappy if you put him in some sort of weird, like, Black Bolt looking thing like Havoc did. Put him in his X-Force, back in that day, Executioner's Song costume. Richter, have him maybe doing something like this or whatever he does with his hands or whatever. I think he had some tassels on the shoulder there, long hair. That's the Richter we need. So we need him. He needs to. He finishes that team off. We've got Siren. Okay, we've got Boom Boom and Bam Bam and all those guys. Cannonball. We need Richter. Okay. So Get on it. All right, that's my number 3.
And Richter is one I didn't even include on my list because I knew you were going to have him.
Yes, right. Yeah, right. I talk about him all the time. And one of these days I'll get around to doing him in homebrew, but I'm kind of holding off because I really want the real Richter.
Yeah. I got
And
it.
we don't have a mini yet doing that clap, so that's a great new pose.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
And Big Head Chibis, if you're listening, if Simon aren't going to come to the party, then we need Richter. So all good.
Yeah.
In that costume, I don't want to get Richter and he's not like if he shows up and he's not in that costume, so he doesn't actually complete that puzzle, then I'll be unhappy. But anyway.
You heard the man, Tiago. You heard the
man. I'm not entitled much.
Then Dan's gonna have to buy 2 pledges and modify one of those.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get the sculpting putty out. Yeah. Or maybe we could do the plastic face man trick and just just heat him up and sculpt him into something else.
Yeah.
Just melt another figure until their arms come together.
Yeah, that's right.
Season 4 is just gonna come with a hot plate. All right. My number 3, I get he has been tricky to adapt for various reasons, but we got to see the Mandarin. We've got to see the Mandarin in this game. Again, he is in the same way, what Leader is to Hulk, he is to Iron Man for the most part anyway. Again, I'm a 90s kid. Maybe it was a different story in the comics, but in that cartoon, it was Mandarin and then every other villain, right? Like he was the cream of the crop. And the modern Mandarin is obviously the better, much more sensitive Mandarin, and I get it. Use that one. But we got such a cool version in the Shang-Chi movie. There's different versions of the modern Mandarin that can work. They have like a few options to choose from. Again, I don't know if it's a rights thing or what. This is that one where they almost put him in and then they didn't. So there's like a whole tricky thing with that. Like the art exists. So I don't know what they're waiting for, but get Mandarin in the game so I can fight him with Iron Man and team him up with Fin Fang Fu and make my dreams come true. That's all.
I'd even love to see what's that actor's name? Who played the fake Mandarin? I'd love to see that Mandarin.
Oh yeah, Ben Kingsley as a kid.
Yeah, Ben Kingsley. Yeah. He's like, hey, I'm just an actor, man. That would be that'd be a cool thing to have, like a challenge mode where it's like find the real Mandarin or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love how I think we've probably, because we talk enough and we've sort of talked to each other enough about these things. I think I know I've steered clear of some of these things. I think that might be one of the reasons why we don't have as much crossover as well, is because I think we were expecting to see some of these on our list too, maybe as well. So
maybe.
Yeah. I didn't. He was in my mind, but I didn't. I was like, no. I'll pick something else, because as much as your points are all very valid, like he's not one that like I must, I want to see sort of thing. But like I definitely think he'd be a good one. He'd almost make one of my crowd pleasers. I think he'd make a lot of people happy in that list. So yeah,
definitely.
Good pick.
All right, Dave, you're on number 2 there, sir.
Okay, so this is impossible to pick between these two, so I just I guess I'll go alphabetically. I don't know. These two are like way up there for me. So then the first one will be D. So this is someone that I would love to see actually as an anti-hero. I think there's going to be a really creative way to do this, and Dan and I've already talked about this character for this, and that is Destiny. So Destiny is precog. She's Mystique's wife, Mystique's partner for like ever, and then she was dead for a really long time, and she's recently been resurrected. And so she can see the future. She's blind, so she's like the kind of classic fortune teller type character. But yeah, she's great, and I'd love to see her where she's got like a Mr. Sinister kind of vibe, where she is playable on your team, but she keeps secrets from everyone, but she knows things, but she can't tell you them, because then that would do something and ruin her plans or something. So I'd love to do something with that.
Yeah, the game
and
design
that's
space is
Destiny.
huge with her. Yeah, Destiny.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I kind of just forgot about her. Like, it doesn't speak well to how important she was, but like she actually is. Like when I've done these lists in the past, like she often pops up on like what would I really want to see, and yeah, Destiny's one. I think she'd sort of fill out because I like those Brotherhood characters, and I know she's been on versions of that, and I particularly like the idea of that. I'd like to play with the Brotherhood team, which is that Freedom Force or whatever they were called, where they were like the police guys. It was like Mystique and Blob and I think Pyro, and she was there too. Like, I think we need her for that whole outfit too. Yeah.
Was she a henchman for Mystique? She had like the white
She is
and
a henchman
blue.
for Mystique. Yep.
That's
She has the gold mask.
Yes. All right.
So we've got the art, So yeah.
Very nice. That's a great number 2.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
What do you have for number 2?
Wow. Strap yourselves in, guys. This is going to be a long one. All right. So this one probably should be my number 1, but I'm going to make it number 2. This character, I only just recently discovered the viability of this being a possibility. It's definitely a homebrew idea. Definitely a homebrew idea I've already made into a reality. So we actually have it. Thanks to some interesting. It's actually quite a cool. I've done the character with. There's a guy who does really cool. He takes the existing art from Marvel United and like modifies it into all. So there's like all of these characters we've talked about are probably in his list of art he's made. He's made so many characters and he just modifies the art and changes them around. So he's made this character as well, and that is Conan the Barbarian. I didn't realize Conan the Barbarian was in Marvel, but I found out there's somehow they crossed the comics or something, and Conan somehow gets brought in with the supernatural world or something, and he joins the Savage Avengers, who I know we have a team deck for, right? I think it's the Savage Avengers. Don't think it's the Dark Avengers, but anyway, he joins that team. He's Conan. He's hanging out, swinging his sword around, doing Conan stuff, and Conan. We talk about like memories of me as a young adult. I used to watch this movie all the time. I had a good mate when we used to sort of like we worked together, and like we would like he used to like wake up in the morning. He used to tell me his routine was like he'd put that soundtrack on, and he would like that was his like pepping him up to get up in the day and all that sort of stuff. I used to be able to quote that entire thing about let me tell you of a time of great adventure, and the wizard speaking at the beginning and stuff. Like, love that movie. We would go to work. We used to work at the Games Workshop stores. And any poor schmuck that would come in during a weekday, and we would subject them to one or either of us recounting the entire Conan movie, a one-man act, like playing all the characters. We'd say, "Have you ever heard of Conan?" It's nothing to do with Games Workshop. We would act out the whole thing. Kids, we'd have kids sitting there at the painting table and stuff, and we're jumping up on the tables, with the sword and all this sort of stuff. We loved that movie. We lived and breathed Conan. It was like and a lot of people might think that's it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger cheesy dumb action movie sort of thing. Go back and watch that movie. It's like opera, right? There's virtually no dialogue, which makes it more cerebral, right? Because it's all in the acting. Stick with me with this argument, right? It's just great. It's like it's such high art, They got those two NFL quarterbacks, or not quarterback, NFL enforcers or whatever, the linesmen and stuff, as the big dudes with the sword and the hammer and stuff. And James Earl Jones' best role besides Darth Vader, right? Dulce of Doom. I mean, there's a villain for you, right? We could have a whole box of Conan, right? But Conan is such a cool character, such a cool thing. Some problematic stuff with the guy who wrote him and stuff, I think. And going and reading the novels or the little short stories and stuff, there's some interesting stuff going on there. But Conan, that movie, loved it. And Conan would be a really cool addition to the Marvel United universe because we could have a cool model of him. We actually have a cool model of him made by Big Head Chibi, so check it out. We've got rules for him in the homebrew, but I'd love to see the official stuff, what they could do with him as well. And yeah, he's really cool, and he'd be a really fun one. I can't wait to sort of team him up with characters like Wolverine and that sort of thing in the Savage Avengers, but also he'd be really great against those like supernatural characters, wizard characters like Loki and stuff. Yeah, he'd be really cool. So Conan is like my left of field. He almost could be in my dream, a crazy dream thing, but it's not a crazy dream. It's reality, and we need to see it. If you want to bring the fans in, he could be on my crowd pleasers list. He could be his own challenge mode as well. So he's in my challenge list. Conan, let's get it done. So we need Conan. So you go.
I do have to disagree, Dan, because I feel like Conan should be his own United.
Right, yeah, Conan United.
I feel like there's enough stuff for Conan United.
All right,
man, I love that. That's great.
Yeah. And then if you opt in for DC, you make him fight Mr. Freeze. There you go.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
that's quotes.
That's great. I'm pretty sure there's even a couple of Arcadia Quest minis that we could use as Conan if push comes to shove.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a few barbarians in there.
Yeah.
I love it. Just snakes like these. So,
all right, the rest of the video is just going to be us doing Arnie quotes.
Yeah, it's just that. It's all Arnold from now on. Brute force. We know brute force is coming.
Hey.
Yeah.
Remove that from the screen. Get rid of that. Yeah. So we're saving that for later. Saving that for later.
That's to come.
Yeah.
For my number 2,
sorry,
it is, unless this is Dave's number 1, but but Dave, you're next anyway. But for my number 2, it's time to talk about Mephisto.
Yes. Now,
the big man.
Yes. See on your list, Dave?
Yeah. Nope.
Not okay.
I figured he'd show up, so there was no point in me adding him.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
I don't have much to say. I don't have much to say of it, like that probably hasn't already been said, but I mean, this is a big box, not big box, but like this is I have my own box like Thanos kind of villain. A team of henchmen who are also their own thing, like Galactus and what, like that's how you have to treat this guy. And I don't even know what a season 4 hypothetically might look like. I might not even have that villain box anymore. But that's kind of how we have to play ball if Mephisto's stepping up to the plate, because he's a big deal. He's a big deal. And like, even in MCU, everybody's like, where's Mephisto? Where's Mephisto? Give us Mephisto. Come on. He's coming. So the frenzy for him is palpable. It's there. It's anybody looking at the Marvel fan base can see it. So I don't know what they're waiting for, but get him in here.
I think he's number 1 on all of those like lists that you see pop up on Board Game Geek and in the comments while everyone's in, like you said before, we're in that holding pattern waiting for MCU and for Marvel United and stuff. And on the Discord, I think he keeps topping the polls, like he's number 1, like he's the one that everybody wants. Especially when they tabulate it or calculate it or whatever based on just whichever one gets, you could your favorite one might be this one, but if he's on your list, then it's like, the most time he appears on the list, like he's always there, sort of thing. So I think he's a big one. And like I think Kanji, Derek from Kanji Studios version is all about like he's sort of like making a deal with you and stuff like that, which is a really interesting sort of take on the character and that sort of thing as well. But then there's, like you said, like you could go down the route of having like all of his henchmen and have a whole big box with all those guys. So there's like, he's such a big character. He's sort of like a big archetypal character as well. He's all those characters who are either supernatural or like sort of righteous sort of fight. Like he fits a lot of themes for, like, you could make a lot of scenarios where he's a great villain to have, sort of thing. So yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah, he's the biggest missing piece in this game. I think he's the biggest hole in all of our hearts as Marvel United fans is shaped like Mephisto's fiery head. So let's get him in there.
Yeah.
Now I will. Okay. Dan, were you going to say something?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, I actually, that reminds me, there's a homebrew Mephisto that I think I was supposed to help out with, and I had forgotten about it, so I need to go back and check on that.
So is that two of them?
But I remember, yeah. The thing is with Mephisto is that there's so many stories for Mephisto. It was hard for me because I was like, I should make a Mephisto, and then I was like, where do I even begin with this character? There's so many stories. But one of the ones I really wanted to do was, I think it's called Hotel something.
California.
I don't think it's Hotel California, but like that could be it. But it's like it's where I think what ends up happening is they end up sending Ghost Rider to hell, and then Ghost Rider like takes over hell and comes back, and like kicks Mephisto out of this hotel that he's running or something. I don't remember, but I think that I had an idea for that where the main board was like the big octagon style thing, and it was actually several locations, and so somebody at the beginning gets killed and has to go on like a quest in there while everyone else is handling the overflows.
So cool, man.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Because like until then you can't hurt Mephisto because he's Mephisto. You can't do anything to him, right?
Yeah.
But like if you take over hell, then like you have like power over him, kind of thing. So yeah, that was the idea.
That's great.
Yeah, when you mentioned Ghost Rider as well, I just was thinking, this is kind of an aside, but like that's a whole box in itself. Like there are so many like every time I open my Facebook feed, there's like, oh, there's this guy turns into Ghost Rider, and this guy, or the Spirit of Vengeance, whatever. Like the Spirit of Vengeance box, you could fill that thing out with all the characters, right?
Oh yeah.
Kind of like Apocalypse's Horseman. I feel like everyone's been one of his horsemen. Yeah. So that'd be cool. Yeah.
Well, that brings us to our number one of our must-haves.
So here's my number one tied with Destiny, but she's alphabetically comes later, and we Nelly just mentioned her. Actually, this is the Goblin Queen.
Force. Oh no, okay.
Goblin Queen, nice.
And she would have to be an anti-hero because she's been such a good like hero character recently. But I would love to see that element of her. But yeah, she's a fantastic character.
She's hot right now because of 97.
Exactly.
She sure is. Yeah. What can you say? And there's such a great like that arc in the comics is so like it's like huge and weird and sprawling, and then they condensed it all down into a pretty sort of memorable sort of episode of thingy, and then had her sort of sticking around. So yeah, she's good choice, and yeah, an iconic look. Like you could have a really cool figure for her and all that sort of thing, and and you could even have some cool figures like based around like the demons and stuff that work with her and that sort of thing as well.
My dream would be an Inferno box because there's so many fun things to do with that. I would actually kind of combine it with. Did you read Dark Web, Andrew?
No, I didn't.
You should. It's so good. It's basically Inferno from the X-Men sequel, but it also includes Spider-Man. So it's Spider-Man and X-Men Inferno. Real good.
Awesome.
And it's a cute like clone story because the Spider-Man bad guy is Ben Reilly, who's like basically been screwed with his head, and so like he like feels like he's missing something, and Madeline Pryor obviously feels like she's missing something because she's missing like a lot of her past and stuff.
Right.
So like they team up and it's great.
So cool.
That comment from Nelly Nell. That's what I thought. Well, when you said, "Oh, she's hot right now," that's what I thought you were talking about at first. And then I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." Yeah. All right. Well, so my number one. So this is like these are my must-haves. I sort of read this as like my personal. This is what I really want,
right?
Rather than like this is what you need to sell the thingy. So it's probably not as big a thing, but I'm loving this. It's not as massive a part of my life as obviously Conan was, but this one is sort of like, I guess it's like my new mascot for my channel and stuff. Since I've discovered more about him and stuff. This is Hit Monkey. All right, so mate, Hit Monkey. All right, Andrea, Tiago, Eric Lang, if you're listening, if you want to come back and start making some Marvel United sort of stuff, anyone out there making Marvel United, Hitmonkey needs to be in this game. Put him in DC. I don't care. Chuck him in DC. All right. Like, oh my god, this character is so cool. If you are familiar with Table Play, they're a company that makes like dividers and different sort of solution, third-party solution type of things. He on his website, like when you buy his dividers and things like that, he also has I think free for download. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you have to sort of buy something, but like he's got a version of Hitmonkey. So there are actually cards designed already for Hitmonkey. He's sort of designed it himself. So he's out, and that's how I just discovered Hitmonkey. I was like, "Who's this Hitmonkey character?" I thought he made him up, but holy moly, what a cool concept for a character. Then he popped up in Marvel Snap, and I've had him there for like a year because I don't pay for the like I never do the the what do you call like the transactions when I play Marvel Snap. So I've had him sitting there waiting for a whole year for my little like space coins or whatever to build up so I've pinned him when he came up, and I've been waiting for so long, and I finally was able to buy him the other day. So he's in my collection, little Hitmonkey guy. He's so good. There you go, Detective Chimp. We need a fourth monkey, so we can have a full monkey team. Even though a chimp isn't really a monkey, it's an ape. But wait a minute. Now, Hitmonkey, he's a macaque, right? A Japanese macaque, one of the snow monkeys. Are they an ape or a monkey?
I think if they have a tail, they're a monkey. Does Hitmonkey have a tail?
He doesn't have a tail. That's why I'm like, is he a hit ape? I don't know. Anyway, the monkey aficionados will tell us about this. Surprisingly, the Meeple monkey, I'm not actually much of a monkey aficionado, but I do like monkeys. Year of the Monkey, and monkeys are just cool. Favorite animal. Even if they're an ape, I'll welcome him, and you're all welcome in the primate world of Meeple monkey. But holy moly, this guy, he's really cool. And I did not realize, I only just discovered this the other day, there is an absolutely unreal cartoon of the Hitmonkey on Disney Plus. I keep forgetting because it's always set up for kids to go into my like profile where I can see all the adult content, and not that kind of. Then we're getting into a weird sort of Hitmonkey universe, but like the shows for grown-ups with violence and stuff in it, and Hitmonkey's on there, and it's this show that's pretty recent, and there's another season coming out in like a month or two or something, and it's amazing. It's like cool animation. It's super violent. Reminds me of Archer, like the humor in it reminds me of that TV show Archer, because like he's followed around by this like ghost of Jason Sudeikis, or whatever his name is, who plays this like real like scumbag, but with a lovable heart, assassin sort of thing, that basically sort of is the one that basically is inspiring Hitmonkey to be an assassin sort of thing. And it's just a really fun show. Hitmonkey's an amazing character. I love Hitmonkey. I'm on a real Hitmonkey kick at the moment. So I want to see Hitmonkey in Marvel United. You could have such a cool model for him with his pose and stuff. He could be like Puck, upside down, firing guns with his tail in his hand, feet, and all that sort of stuff. The Big Head Chibis have made a model for him already, and I am currently in the process. He's my most recent. Like I'm actually mid getting art for him. He's going to be my next homebrew project. So even though Table Play have a version of him already, I'm sort of making it. I didn't want to just rip off their design sort of thing. So I've got Erwin to be making some art for us, and we'll and I'm making my own rules for him as well. But I really, 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 really want Hitmonkey in Marvel United. So that's my number one on my must-have list. Yeah.
Awesome choice for a number one. And I echo what Nelly Nell and Rockstar are saying. Like, put him together with Detective Chimp. That has to happen. Wow, stupendous.
And I eventually want to make like a little Meeple monkey character as well. So that'll be a third ape. And then for Dynasty Warriors, I want to make Sun Wukong, because he was in the Warriors United, Warriors Orochi thing where they had all the mystical guys and stuff as well. Mm-hmm. So I want to have that, so that monkey magic guy. So have that'd be 4 apes. You could have a full ape team. That'd be cool.
And then they can fight Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah, Gorilla Grodd, and another one that might pop up on the list later on. So,
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
spoilers.
Sweet.
Spoilers. Yeah. Anyway, Hitmonkey.
Hitmonkey is your number one. I love it.
Get on. Get on it.
Now we're on my number one, the end of our first list of the night, but not our last list of the night. I'm really impressed by how little crossover we've had. This is great.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to think, because if Mephisto was number 2, I'm like, and like you said, that's a huge like gap. I'm like, what's your number 1 if it's not like Hydro Man as well?
It was a close call. And I've definitely mentioned this person before in other videos. It's going to be a purple character. It's got to be purple because that's very fitting. Simon, where the hell is Prowler? Where's my boy Prowler at? He's been hot for years thanks to the movie. He's an anti-hero. People want more anti-heroes. Like, he's a great looking character. He'd be an amazing mini. The stuff you could do, like, we don't even have him as a henchman anywhere. It's like, Prowler exists. I want him to exist in this game. That's that would make me so happy to see that face on a box. When we got that Spider-Geddon box, for a second I was like, is he in there? And it, no such luck. Yeah, but he's coming. I can feel it. He's got to be, again, he is a potential core box character because his face is almost a household name by now.
Yeah, I remember there was a guy, Milk Wazowski or something in the in the Discord community, and I remember how awesome it was when Spot was revealed as a character, just because he's just such a, I don't know, to me seems like, this character that's come out of nowhere sort of thing, but like, he was a massive fan of Spot, and when that was announced in that Spider-Geddon box, like, I was like, remember, like, he was super happy, and I remember being like super happy for him that he was in there. It was like that Havoc thing, it's like, oh my god, what a awesome win for, like, the one person that wanted this sort of thing. And I feel like Prowler is not quite that level, right? Prowler, like you said, he's been hot because of the movie and all that sort of stuff as well. But he'd be a really cool one. I'd like to see him pop up, so that you get your win there, sort of thing. I think that'd be cool. Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait till I get a Prowler mini, a Simon Prowler mini. Like, I can see it in my head, and I want it. It's coming.
Yeah.
So that'll do it for list number 1. But now we're going to move on to our second list of the night, which is our, I want to get the phrasing right here. Let me open mine up. One new crazy mode. A new gameplay mode to add to Marvel United that doesn't exist yet. Each of us has one. And I mean, I will state for the record right here and right now, the other 2 gentlemen on the stream are way better at homebrewing than I am. So their modes are going to be legit. I'm so excited to hear them. We've already seen a taste of yours, Dave, on Facebook, I think. So why don't you go ahead and give us the spiel. What is your new mode?
Okay, so the new mode is like an exploration hex crawler mode. So the way that I'm kind of envisioning this, and the way that my homebrew design is based off of, is 2 kind of parts to it. So the first part is, of course, the new hexagons that are used to explore the area. But then the other part is a set of encounters that occur every villain turn that kind of encourage you to explore, either by rewarding you or by punishing you if you don't explore. So the version I'm doing is the Other World, because that's like a part of the universe that we haven't really seen much. That's with Saturnine and the Excalibur, Captain Britain Corps stuff. But it was most recently done in X of Swords, which was like a big crossover event in Krakoan era stuff. But I'm going to push that the way that I would love to see this, and this is another piece of the missing Marvel universe that I really, really liked as a kid, and that is X-Men 2099. So the 2099 universe as a crawler, so that you're like seeing all these new locations that obviously we haven't touched before, and then having encounters with all of these 2099 characters.
That's cool. I'm not familiar with that world too. So, that's right, because there's that Spider-Man 2099, isn't there?
The Spider-Man
Yeah.
song in there, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, and I can speak from limited experience playtesting with Dave as well. Only just got to sort of play test a little bit of it the other day, sort of thing. But like proof of concept, it kind of like it's a pretty cool little system, sort of thing. So it needs a bit more fleshing out, like you were saying with that the deck and that sort of stuff. But the actual sort of like being able to sort of travel off the beaten path and that sort of stuff is quite fun, and add some interesting choices and manipulations and that sort of thing as well. So yeah, that whole Hexplore sort of thing, because that's when I was playing it, it felt like kind of like a rune boundy sort of that sort of whole stepping off the map and flipping a tile as you go and building out the map sort of thing. It's quite fun. So yeah, that's a great mode, great pick.
Yeah, awesome. That's one thing. I think a lot of games that aren't crawlers tend to go that route eventually. I think Boss Monster ended up doing that, right? They made a dungeon crawl. So I think you might get your wish, Dave. I don't think it's super outside the realm of possibility. I think that could very well be a thing. Simon has the experience too with like Arcadia Quest and things like that. Like they can get these things on the table and make them work. So I don't think it's far-fetched at all. I think it sounds like fun, and I think it might be in the cards one day.
Because I've seen people like suggesting like, oh, we should have a dungeon crawler mode to use the minis, but like I want to use the cards too. I want to use the villains, like I want everything to work together.
Yes.
And so that was important for it.
Yeah. And just on your like sort of piggybacking off what your mode that you've chosen there, because when I saw Dave's mode, what sort of like came up for me was like, oh wow, I might be able to do the thing that I've been wanting to do, which is I've been designing the Warriors Orochi world, so your Dynasty Warriors, your Samurai Warriors, that sort of world, and I've got a whole bunch of characters and villains for that. But what I've really wanted to tap into with that, and I haven't found a way, Nelly Nell's got a really cool like mission mode in his My Hero Academia thing, where you have this mode where you replace the missions and you put these like challenges that you have to go through. So you're basically doing this like final exam sort of thing, and I think it's actually an entrance exam, and you have to sort of go around doing all these heroic acts and doing all these little missions whilst battling the villain. But the actual mission structure is not in the game sort of thing. So it's like it changes it up a bit. And so I had that idea of having like, battlefield missions you had to go around and do, like you had to sort of complete things on these cards. But then the other thing I've really wanted to do is like have that, the big thing about my experiences with Dynasty Warriors is like using the map and, feeling like a general, hitting the pause screen and looking at the map and going, all right, so I want to go and like, capture this flank so I can like, cut off their supplies over here, all that sort of stuff. So I really like the idea of having that Hexplore sort of map structure, so you can go out and like either conquer the battlefield or conquer strategic strong points and that sort of thing. And so I've been really sort of mulling over some ideas ever since seeing that, and then having played it with Dave, I'm sort of really sort of like trying to zero in on how to take Dave's kind of mode and like play with some of the concepts with it to create this like map exploration thing. So where it's less about revealing tiles, so you have all the tiles to begin with, but it's more about going out and like claiming territories or going on missions that the general sends you on or whatever it might be, in amongst still, because the big thing is trying to keep the core game the same though, right? So like still have the villain be able to be the villain and not have to like remove the villain for the game to make it work, or like have the villains be so affected by it that it doesn't really, it's too clunky sort of thing. So that's the the real missing piece at this stage. But that whole idea of the hexes is really cool. So I'm a big fan of that. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What is your gameplay mode, sir?
So, well, this is an interesting one too. It's I've decided to keep it because I saw you were sort of, when you were referring to Dave's mode, you were referring to crawlers, right? Dungeon crawlers and that sort of thing. And as much as like it's, yes, I think the idea comes from it. I think what Dave's created to me personally is more of, like he said, a Hexplore, sort of rune bound exploration game rather than a dungeon crawl.
Mm-hmm.
And so I still, I think the big thing I would like to see is an actual dungeon crawl. So I've kept it on my list. I've been wavering back and forth, but I really can't think of anything else I really want other than that. So that's the reason I've just kept it. The reason I'm sort of wavering is I did that video recently a few weeks ago on my top 5 dungeon or top 8 dungeon crawls, right? And probably because I was thinking about this, I was thinking about like, oh, I'd like a dungeon crawl in my Marvel United, and so I put that on my list of like what people could vote for in the video. And dungeon crawl, what I've realized doing that video is I was reflecting on Dice Throne Adventures, right? And Dice Throne Adventures was this like magical unicorn that appeared that was like, hey, here's this cool dice battling Yahtzee head-to-head battle with dice and stuff called Dice Throne that's really fun, great art, great characters, all this sort of stuff. And now you can put them all with models or standees in this dungeon crawl mode, and it's like going to be super fun. And it's like, dungeon crawl with this Yahtzee game, how's that going to work? And the idea is you go around, turn by turn, going into the different rooms and stuff. And then every time you encounter like a baddie, you then take out your little dice board or whatever, and you get a card and you play this like separate little dice mission sort of thing. And what that made me realize is it doesn't work and I don't like it. Now I shouldn't say that. That's a sweeping statement. For a lot of people, I think it does work. But for me, it's like it doesn't work because essentially it's proving that that system doesn't work in a dungeon crawl because you're not playing a dungeon, like you're playing this dungeon crawl and then you stop playing the dungeon crawl and you go play this other thing and then you come back to it and then you come
Right.
and because of the way it works, it's too long because you keep going in back and forth having these little battles against the thingies. So what they actually suggest you do is when you finally find the final room and fight the boss, that's a different game. You pack it up, play the game next time, and next time you play, you take that guy out. So even fighting the boss is like its own game sort of thing. So the whole, like, to me, it doesn't work smoothly because it takes me out of it. Like I don't feel like this is the magical like this game plus a dungeon crawl and they've made it work. They haven't really. They've just said, here, let's play this dungeon crawl part to it sort of separately, and So and what that makes me think, and because I've been thinking, oh, we could just do this or we could just do that. With Marvel United is that if we're going to do a Marvel United dungeon crawl, it can't just be slapdash. It can't just be like, oh, well, you just do this. Like, it needs to really be thought out well. It needs to really work. It'd be like, because I feel like there's some of those modes in even Marvel United that we have, like the blue versus gold team and that sort of stuff, that are a bit like, they kind of just, there's not enough to them that I think that they really work as a solid mode themselves, personally. So I think there's a lot of routes they could go to make Marvel United. This is funny because this is my pick, but I'm kind of like arguing against it. But this is what I mean is like, I really want to see this, and this is why I put it on this list, because I don't want to make it. Like, I'd love to make it, but like I don't want to, because I don't think I personally right now I don't have the solutions for it. Like, I don't know how to do it. It's because I want to keep it feeling like Marvel United, and like Dave said, I want to not have to make new cards. I want the cards that we have existing already work with it. I want the villains to essentially mostly sort of work, and so if you take too much of Marvel United out of it, then what's the point? You may as well just make a chibi dungeon crawl, chibi Marvel dungeon crawl, but don't call it Marvel United because it's not really Marvel United. You know what I mean?
Right.
So so that's the mode I want. I just don't know how to get there. Dave had some really good ideas about like playing 2 cards at once. So you've got this smorgasbord of actions that you can pick from, or like playing your card plus having this like Marvel United dice with some of the symbols on it and stuff like that give you your sort of mitigated sort of symbols that you're going to get. So there's some interesting things you could do. It's the mode I'd really love to see. I think the models and stuff, and whether we do tiles or hexes or cards for the map, or however you lay it out, I'd really love to see that. But I'm sorry, I don't have the answers for anyone. I want Andrea and the gang. I'm giving them the hospital pass. Like, here, have the ball. You guys deal with it, sort of thing. Because I don't know how to do it properly. Yeah. I think we have to be real careful, because it'd be a shame if we got it and it wasn't very good.
Right.
Like, it didn't quite work. Yeah. It either wasn't very good or didn't feel like Marvel United. And yeah. So it's like one of those things that it's like, should we really be doing this if it's not going to be great? But that's my mode that I'm choosing. So
I like that. Yeah, that's a tough balancing act, because it would be cool to have this whole other completely different game mode to use all these figures with, but then yeah, at the same time, the beauty of Marvel United is just the astonishing simplicity and plug and playness of it all, and that's what made us all fall in love with it. And how do you amplify that to a dungeon crawl without sacrificing the integrity of that simplicity? That can get it takes a designer way smarter than us to figure that out. That's a tall order.
Yeah, because how do you do the minions? Like, how do you do the minions that feel fun? Like, because if they're just kind of represented by the tokens, that's not the real feeling of a dungeon crawl. If they're the threat cards, I don't know that the threat cards are as dynamic that you need them to be. I just don't know. It's I think we need, if anyone could do it, and I can see the gears going. It's these other guys. It's these guys that are better than me in the homebrew crew. So I think like Dave and those guys may be able to come up with something. But
Dave's got something. What do you got?
Yeah, he's cooking.
I think a big part of a dungeon crawl is having different types of enemies that you're kind of encountering. Right? You can't just have thugs and then you kick open the door and there's the boss, and now you fight the boss. It's got to be different enemies. But I think you could do that with having, instead of like, you know how like we have Doom bots, right? So you could have different types of thugs that are going to do different things. So kind of like classified versions of those things. I think that could potentially work. Introduce threats as we explore into the building. I definitely would probably see it more like a kind of like, well, so my first intro into Cool Mini or Not was The Others, which is a fantastic game, and I love that. So I kind of like that like city vibe of exploring, which kind of fits with superheroes. So I think that could work. You could potentially start testing it with Zombicide or Marvel Zombie, tiles, and kind of build up from there. But you just don't want, I mean, no shade thrown at people who love Marvel Zombies. I think it's a great game. I love it. It's not. It's not the dungeon crawler mode I want for Marvel United.
No,
right?
So,
well, like on my video,
something that maybe pushes through that. Yeah, but.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, on that dungeon crawl video, I kind of wasn't even thinking about Marvel Zombies until like I kind of was like, oh, is that a dungeon crawl? Like I don't really think of it as a dungeon crawl. Like I don't know what it is about it, but it doesn't feel like it has a lot of the ingredients of that I expect in a dungeon crawl sort of thing. So yeah, it's a funny one. It's like you say, I think
the big difference is it kind of has like a tower defense feel to it more so than like a dungeon crawl to me. Because it's like waves coming constantly as opposed to I'm going in, finding things, and then dealing with them kind of thing.
Yeah. I only put it on the list because I looked up on BGG and it has as listed as one of its like game types as like dungeon crawl. I'm like, well, I guess someone considers it a dungeon crawl. So
yeah.
No, that's Okay, See, so there's like it's there. Someone just needs to sort of pluck it like the golden idea and just somehow pull it all together and make it work, sort of thing. But yeah.
It is tricky. We're knocking on the door of it, but it's the only way I can think of doing it would be something along the lines of like Betrayal on House on the Hill, where you're unlocking this area. In that case, it's a mansion, but this can be whatever. And depending on what you find and where you find it, that determines who your villain is and what your scenario is. But then that's very dependent on you kind of owning everything.
Having a lot.
I
would probably do it more along the lines of like, it's a race. You have to get through the place to find the villain to fight them. And every kind of, villain turn that you don't get to, they're playing a master plan card face down. So they're advancing. They're going to win if you don't get them fast enough. Right.
Right.
But
there's an answer out there. Somebody will find it.
Yeah.
But I think Yeah, I think that's why, like, because we see this, right? People have been asking for this for I think a couple of seasons, right? And it's one of those things. It's like, why haven't they done that? And I think the reason is like they probably just haven't locked on to like, the right model for it. Because again, if you don't find the right model for it, what's the point of just doing a slapdash one sort of thing? So
Because then, like you said, at what point does it just become not United anymore and just its own thing, right? So it's tricky. For my mode, I was boring. I plagiarized myself, but I'm okay with that.
Awesome.
I went my initial Marvel United Midnight idea, which was the Spirit of Vengeance mode. So I'm just going with. I can't wait to get my hands on his cards, but U.S. Agent is going to have use his hero cards as villain cards somehow. That's his master plan deck. Is just his hero deck. So if we can take that system and adapt it where any hero can have their cards turned into a master plan deck, and you could thematically have it where that hero made a deal with Mephisto and now they are the Spirit of Vengeance and you have to fight them, and we give everybody it'll come with that little translucent ring base made out of orangey fire, and you just click your hero into it, and now it's like, oh, it's Captain America, but he's got fire on him because he's the Spirit of Vengeance. And you got to fight him, and he's the villain. That would just be a thematic way to turn every blue figure into a potential villain, and then you've just exponentially exploded the game into even more revenue. So
that's a great actual feasible without having to completely redesign a new system. That's probably like the best of the three, like in terms of that'd be a really good attainable thing. And I see a lot of people asking, I want to have a villain mode, I want to have where we get all the to be honest, I see a lot of people asking for the villains as heroes. They want to play as the villains or whatever. But also, like you said, that just opens up the game hugely if you turn every blue model purple, flaming.
All you need is that one little piece.
Yes,
maybe make a bigger one for like stature if you want to use it. But like that's it. That they don't have to make a single card at that point.
Yeah. That'd be real cool. So I think that's a great pick. That's a good one. Nice and easy to make. So
I saw earlier someone talk about zombies. That would be the solution for zombies.
Hey, there you go.
Oh yeah. That I think maybe Mr. Creed was it?
I think it was Mr. Creed.
Yeah, I think it was Mr. Creed.
Yeah.
There you go. You can have your Marvel zombie cake and eat it too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now I want to know: is Mr. Creed Victor or is it Graydon? Like which Creed are we dealing with?
I hope it's Apollo.
Oh, great call.
All right, so now we are on to our third list of the night, which is the crowd pleasers. We have each chosen 5 crowd pleasers, and I think we were all on the same page with this list. This is basically a character who, if they were announced in a campaign, the entire comment section would just be, up in glorious celebration, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Okay. Dave, who is your number 5 crowd pleaser?
I should reorder this. Let me move.
I'm making some quick and rapid adjustments too. Yeah.
Okay. Let me do a little more moving here. Okay. Now I'm ready. All right. So my number 5 is from the X-Men and animated series in X-Men 97. This is a quintessential villain through all of that. Although I don't really think of him as an X-Men villain outside of the animated series, and that is Henry Peter Gyrick, who is he's such a dick. I really want. I love the idea of fighting him, but also I love the idea that you can't fight him. A villain that you can't punch this guy because if you do, he wins, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I love that.
All his henchmen are lawyers.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Creed, he's you got to fight against his ideas, rather than
And I recently found out that in the comics, he's the guy who shoots Storm and takes her powers away.
Ooh.
He had the gun to neutralize the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a crowd pleaser for sure. I know a lot of people love Henry Peter Gyrick. He's in the mainstream again now, so yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right, now this is probably the odd one out in my list, in this particular list, in that he doesn't share something in common with all the rest of the choices. I'm sort of like rapidly in my head trying to decide whether I go with this pick or this other thing I've got written there, but I'll go with this one. This one really, in terms of thematically where he would go, probably would go in my that must-have list, like which I saw as like just my personal what I want to see in the thingy. But I've originally had him down in crowd pleasers, along with I had like Mephisto and some of these other guys in the crowd pleasers as well, because like I'm not that big I don't really know much about Mephisto and stuff, like, but I know that lots of people would want him, right? And so many people were asking for this. This would be a massive crowd pleaser if you just advertise this. If you just if Simon just put a little social media post up saying this, I think you'd get like 100,000 million backers on the first day, guaranteed. And that is Shaman, or insert any other Alpha Flight character, because there's so many people who are like finish Alpha
There's
Flight.
so
right?
many.
We have a duplicate. We have a duplicate.
We got a duplicate. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll stop. But yeah, Shaman. Shaman is my number 5 pick for crowd pleasers, because I think he would be a crowd pleaser, and I know so many people are asking. So yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
For my number 5, I went with somebody I had never heard of, but until I read the comment section of Marvel United. I think he's from Gen X as well. I went with Mondo.
Oh, cool.
Okay, yeah.
I saw a lot of people. They were hyping up a bunch of Gen X characters, and one of them, the names I kept seeing was Mondo, and I looked him up. I'm like, oh, this guy's cool. Let's get him in there. He would make a ton of people happy. I want to see Mondo.
He's in my Age of Apocalypse extended box.
Oh, nice.
The Age of Apocalypse version of Mondo. Yeah, I love Mondo. Fun character.
Sweet. Great name too. A great character name.
Yeah.
All right. Who's your number 4, Dave?
My number 4 is someone who I thought was going to be an X-Men 97, but was not. And that is, but she's coming soon. This is Cassandra Nova, Professor Xavier.
Oh, yeah.
I think she would be a big crowd pleaser. I was looking back to see if I ordered 2 copies of Annihilation, and I did not, because I would have edited Moondragon and turned her into Cassandra Nova.
Yeah, good call.
But,
good call.
I don't know that I am going to shell out the cash for a second-hand Annihilation box.
Yeah.
Well, I think she's so... sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that, that artist in the Discord that uses all the... that basically has made every character in Marvel by editing the things. I'm sure if we look that up, I'm sure he's already made a Cassandra Nova made out of Moondragon.
Yeah,
probably. I really want to see this art. That art sounds really fun. I was just going to say, I'm sure Cassandra Nova is another person who's about to become a household name. So I don't think you have to worry about missing out on her. Like, if season 4 is coming, I think we can safely bet she's coming with it.
Yeah. That's great pick. I forgot about her, actually. That's a really good pick.
I do want her as an anti-hero, because in the Krakoan era, she's still a bad guy, but she kind of worked on their side for a little while. And she was hilarious, like her takes on things, because she's a bad guy. Like, she's just a bad guy, but like her goals aligned with everybody, and so she's like, they treat her as like their evil aunt. It was just great.
My stance at this point is, if Apocalypse can be purple, anybody can be purple.
Yeah.
When I first heard about that, Apocalypse being like working with them in, like, I think it was one of the first things I heard about Krakoa. I was like, what? Apocalypse? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. If he can be a purple, anyone can. Yeah. All right. So are we up to, what am I? My 4, aren't we?
2. Oh yeah, 4.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going the other way.
Yeah, I think that's why I got confused before on that other list. I was like 6. What? I was like, oh yeah, that's right. All right, so this is where I reveal how much cheating I'm about to be doing.
Ooh.
And I'm also secretly breaking all of Andrew's rules as well, and you'll discover why in a second. From here on out, all of my crowd pleasers are box sets of lots of characters because I basically, if I was going through making this list or all these lists, right, and I was like, well, we need this character, and I was like, my whole list is just going to be this one realm, and then I'm not touching anything else, right? So, so this is how I'm getting all my wants.
Damn it! Damn, I should have done that. I should have done that.
I know. I love this cheating. This is the best kind of cheating.
You should have just said Gen X, right? You should have said Gen X. My top 10 is Gen X,
Yeah.
and then you would have had so many more spots. So my top 4, and really these are the order of these is a bit nebulous, but we'll do this one because the other thing too was because I've done this, I had to hold my tongue, even though you told us not to, like to let you know if there's crossover. Like I feel like the rest of this list, I'm going to be telling you guys, nope, stop talking, nope, stop talking, nope, stop till we get. So mine is number 4 is X-Men 97, the box set, right? Because that way we're getting, and again, I'll just list these characters. That way, if any of these show up on your thingies, you guys can talk all about them, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like X-Men, it's hot right now, right? It's as hot as that guy posting his shirtless pics. The dude that's like the writer or the one that was fired or whatever. Like every pic on social media, he's like topless or whatever. Right? It's as hot as him right now, right? So, Bastion. Mate, if we don't get Bastion, like we've got to strike while the iron's hot, right? Bastion.
He's on
You
my
could
list.
even have like little Bastion. What do you call those guys? Not X Sentinels, but the Prime Sentinels. Goblin
Prime
Queen.
Sentinels, yeah.
So I didn't pipe up when you said Goblin Queen. Morph in his jacket, although Big Head Chibis have made a morph in his jacket, but morph in the jacket, right?
Also on
Not
my
this
list, yeah.
Morph in a cape. Anyway, so all that, even Executioner with the funky mask with the big gun and stuff. And you could have, and Trask is there, and Gyrick is actually in it as well. You could have a Valerie Cooper. You could have all that stuff. So I won't say anything about them. But X-Men 97, I feel like, talk about crowd pleasers. Like this is the stuff I'm like, what's the stuff you're going to hang your hat on, right? And I think X-Men 97, you could easily have that as a core set or a major expansion, and people would be like, yeah, I want all that stuff because it's like it was such a critical and fan hit. I know there was talk about like it didn't have huge numbers of viewer rating or whatever, but like I never saw anything bad about X-Men 97. Like everyone loved it. So yeah, good. That's my pick, and I'll let others talk about the individual characters in that realm.
That box would be, I think, the one box Simon could drop that could be half characters we've already seen and nobody would complain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was my thought too. Because
Yeah.
you could have Nightcrawler with his swords,
Right.
Boom,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
and then the hardest to get X-Men characters, I think, from the original run are the ones that were the bundle in, so Forge and Banshee. Getting those more available to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
totally.
the hottest iron to strike right now for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So,
great. I love it.
So I've snuck in with a cheat and claimed all of them. That's my that's
Beautiful.
Genius move.
Yeah. My number 4
Great.
is, I'll be really quick with him because Dave, you mentioned him in your must-have, is Skin. I know a lot of people wanted to get Skin in the game, so let's get some Skin in the game.
Yeah.
I've been waiting 40 minutes to make that joke.
Nice.
We've got to have a card. That's got to be a special effect to get the Skin in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people would be happy to see him, so let's do it.
Mhm.
What's your number 3?
Absolutely. My number 3 is Bastion. I think we would need 2 because I think both looks for Bastion are really good that we saw in 97. His like Prime Sentinel like suit, and then also the crazy wings. That was really fun. So yeah, Bastion's my 3.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, he's a character I knew nothing about until that show came out. And
Same. I also knew nothing about him, and I was like, wow, this guy's great.
Yeah. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, he was super good. Super good. All right, so continuing with my double wilds mode of playing this list. What will I go with? Actually, yeah, let's stick with let's do it this way. Okay, I'm gonna jump themes a little bit here, but this one again, I just don't think it's like it's very popular, right? It's a big world. I don't think it's hot right now, as hot as like the X-Men stuff, right? So this one I really probably should have put as number 5 or number 4 or whatever. But I was I thought you guys were going to say too many, like you did. You just said Bastion, so I was like, I'm going to say X-Men '97 now. Really, it should be higher on the list just to stop all the crossover stuff. So this one is an Asgard set. I think you could totally. There's so much Asgard out there that hasn't been plumbed. You could and I think I'm probably safe-ish. Am I kind of safe to sort of go into a bit of detail with these guys, or are they going to pop up? Yep. All right. So, cool. Yep. I didn't think like so these guys I think would be a crowd pleaser. I wouldn't hang a season around them though. I think this would be a great expansion set, and I'd sort of like we got a few like. I think the thing is, back in the day, the original sets didn't have a lot of characters in them, so that Thor set was kind of a bit limited. There wasn't a lot in it. Which is surprising. Like, why don't we have a lot of Thor stuff? It's because that Thor expansion just didn't have the space for it, I guess. But like you've got the big one I want to see is Heimdall, mate. I want a Heimdall, and as much as like, I'm not a big comic fan, so I apologies to. I'm sure there's lots of fans who really want the comic version of him, but I really love the Idris Elba version of him. I love Idris Elba. He's an awesome dude. So he'd be sweet. So Heimdall. I just remembered Kurz or whatever his name is. Dread. What?
Executioner.
Executioner. Yeah. Is that his name? Yeah. Chuck him in because he'd be the Kickstarter exclusive. Chuck him in.
Yeah.
And there's a guy named I forget, like Lady Sif. You'd have Lady Sif. You could even have like Frigga if you wanted to, and definitely Odin. I definitely want an Odin. For the bad guy, I would want maybe Malekith. I think as much as people didn't like him much in the movies, I think he's really cool. Everyone hates that movie. I love that movie. Anyway,
that was my favorite Thor.
Yeah, it's amazing. Nice. Yeah, super cool. Anyway, you know what? Actually, Ragnarok is awesome. So, like, I don't know if it's my favorite anymore, but it was amazing. It was like they're neck and neck for different reasons. But there's a dude in the ethos of that world, and his name is like I don't know, Randolph or whatever. I forget. There's a dude, and he's kind of like a Thor-ish type character, but his name is not Thor, and I can't remember what his name. But chuck him in. But the other one is it'd be really interesting. We've had lots of multi-villain fights. We've had a half multi-hero thing with the dude with the chain standing on Sabretooth's back. That guy from
Wild Child. Yeah.
Wild Child. There's that sort of thing. I want to see the Warriors 3 as an actual multi-villain hero, multi-hero hero, where you actually get 3 different models and you get to sort of like use all 3 of them and run around and play around with that. That'd be cool. So the Warriors 3, but yeah, I think there's tons of room for like a whole big Asgardian range. If you don't do it as a box set, you could definitely flood the promos with Asgardians. But that's my crowd, and I think they're popular enough that like there's enough people wanting a lot of Asgardians. I think that counts as a crowd pleaser, and that would get people interested in the campaign because it's not like the finish the Alpha Flight. It's like begin the Asgardians. Like people want that. That realm. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, and Chuck Meek in Korg's pal.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, you just described like one of my dream boxes, man. That's like there's so many characters there left untapped. And from what I know, which is very little about Malekith in the comics, he's way more colorful and interesting than he looked physically in the movie. So like if they go that route, they can at least he looks even more like how the United, the colorful style of it. There's a lot in Asgard. I love it.
And you could do how he gives that guy like some sort of special power. He shoves something, stabs him in the chest or something, and makes him into a big monster. Maybe you could have like a thing where he has a bunch of lieutenants, and like each game is different because like depending on what happens, he like makes one of his henchmen into like an Uber henchman, but it's like a different one each game or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There's stuff that can be worked with him. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I like
Good choice. Good choice, Dan. Good job.
So for my number 3, there's a character who already exists in Marvel United, who, thanks to the first video of yours I ever saw, Meeple Monkey, he will forever be known to me as Captain Generic.
Yes.
I guess some people know him as Guardian from Alpha Flight, but whatever, Captain Generic. But apparently he's got a wife named Vindicator, and she needs some love. So let's finish. Go Canada. Let's finish the Alpha Flight team up, and let's get Vindicator in there.
Yeah. That's
Mrs.
good.
Generic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mrs. Generic. Mate, if you don't have any idea of who, like, of Marvel comics, if you haven't been keeping up with it, and you go through that box and they're not painted, and you just pick that guy out, like, mate, he's got nothing in his silhouette. He's just literally a dude like going and just, you know, he may as well be from Blue Man Group, right? He's just like just nothing. He's like Morph who forgot to put clothes on that day or whatever. But and then when you look a bit closer, you say, oh, there's an outline of like a little maple leaf, and then you're like, he's Captain Canada or something. But yeah, until you see that, it's definitely Captain Generic.
Yeah, it's like, oh, did they give me like a make your own character?
Yeah, that's right. Oh no, he's the putty one. He's the one that you're supposed to melt down and you can make into whatever you want. Yeah. So that's there you go. So if you want to do, what was the name of your character, Dave? Skin. Is it Skin?
Skin.
Yeah.
There you go. So if we don't get Skin, Captain what's his name?
Guardian.
Guardian.
Yeah.
The only other thing that confuses me about Guardian is like he's got the wife Vindicator and stuff, but like apparently at different times he is Vindicator or something. And I know people have tried to explain that to me before, but
so
it's one of those
they didn't know what to name him originally. His first appearance in the comics, they called him Weapon Alpha. Oh. And then they were like, just kidding, that's not his name, it's this now. And then he's changed names a couple times since, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Canadians are very complex like that.
Yeah, that's right. Very mysterious, yeah.
But he has always been Captain Canada. So.
Right, Captain Canada, there you go, yes. He's
always had that outfit.
Yeah. We definitely need that. I like the idea of like Captain Canada, Captain America, Captain Britain.
Yes.
We need like a Captain Australia or something. We need something like that. But yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe or we might get Captain Boomerang. Is it Captain Boomerang in is that his name in DC?
Yeah, or is it Captain Boomerang? Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's his name is Captain, and he's Australian. There you go.
And he's definitely going to be purple. He's definitely an anti-hero. So.
I am. Yeah. I'm all in on I was like on the fence with DC, but now if we get like Detective Chimp and Captain Boomerang, I'm in. Yep.
Dance crowd pleasers.
Good stuff.
All
right, Dave, you are on number 2.
All right, my number 2 is one that Dan mentioned, but it is the Morph 97, and I like the new look in the second part of the series where he had the cape. Mm-hmm. That was very cool. The yellow shoulder pads and yellow cape. I like that look a lot. Since we've already got Big Head Chibi's to make the jacket version from the original animated series, so then we could have 2 different morphs from the animated stuff.
I must be like getting real old. I have no memory of him having a cape in the show. Was it after they go to that Muir Island and like all change their costumes?
It's when they all got old costumes. Yeah.
Wow.
And then he's morphing a lot after. So it's understandable that you don't see it a lot.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's man, that's old man brain. That's not good. I don't have no memory of that.
Yeah, take a look. It's a really cool costume.
Yeah. Any excuse to go back and watch that video, I will. I'll be like, oh yeah.
It's kind of like a yellow-blue version of the Age of Apocalypse / Exiles morph outfit. It's just the yellow-blue X-Men colors for it. But yeah, big shoulder pads, big cape.
That's why I'm like really surprised I don't remember it, because I personally don't really like that costume, which is why I was like I like a good jacket, but yeah, that's why I'm like I would have thought like I would have like been pointing at the screen, going, "Get off the screen!" If I'd seen that, I don't know. I must have just been too, like you said, I was just too blown away with everything else awesome in it and stuff. But if you like that look though, that's cool. Yeah, absolutely, that's cool. That's a cool choice. Cool choice. I think we need, for crowd pleasers, I think we need just like a model of Rogue, but a bit like old school, like first person graphics, where however you turn it, it always is the same image, and it's just a big close up of the butt. Because mate, the amount of stuff going on online about that, it was just like, is anyone actually going to like critique the actual show, or are you all just talking about it? It was that and Morph's like face sort of thing. Like maybe a crowd pleaser would be Morph with his creepy like bowl cut homemade haircut sort of that he had back in the day, sort of. But yeah, that'd be cool. All right, so are we on to me? Is that?
Yep, you're number 2.
Oh wow, okay, I'll stop rabbiting on about Morph and his haircut. So I've done Asgard. All right, so here we go. This is my number 2. Yes. All right. This one, I got this idea when we were talking before. Yeah. Okay. Crowd pleaser ish. I actually don't think this would be much of a crowd pleaser, but I think it'd be a really cool idea. Would be, I can't remember if we were talking about this on the camera or off the camera, but Hellfire Gala costume set. So just a whole box of dupes, and they're all in like super fancy, like, because I don't know if you guys have played Marvel Snap, but there's this whole like variant set of cards you can get where all the characters are in their like gala suits. And I haven't read the comics with the gala stuff in it, so I have no idea how wide ranging this is. But there's this set of these guys, and they all look, it's like Captain America showing up in his like super sweet tux, and they just all these crazy like costumes, like they're going to the Met Gala sort of thing, right? So yeah, a whole box set of dupes just with these crazy cool costumes for these guys. Now, ideally, this is such a weird random pick. This should be like number 5 on the list. But again, it was one I was pretty safe. I didn't think I'd get too much crossover with this. So, but yeah, the gala costumes I think would be sweet. I think that'd be
they're great.
Really cool.
I love the gala costumes. Yeah.
So I think you get some, and I think for the painters in particular, you'd have some really interesting things to go with. So I really that's my pick for that one.
I love the idea of that. The only ones I've seen are the Peter Parker and Miles Morales ones, because you can actually unlock them in the Spider-Man 2 game as like an alternate costume. You can unlock their Hellfire Gala costumes, and they look wicked. And I'm like, I didn't realize that this was a thing where they had a bunch of characters in gala outfits, but that's such a cool idea. So I'm on board to just see what that looks like. Even if I don't buy the box, I just want to see what that art is like.
Yeah, to be honest, I think that's more of a crowd displeaser. I think there would be such uproar about dupes and look, they've got nothing, they've got no ideas, they're all just blah, blah, blah. I think it'd actually be really unpopular with the majority of people, but I think with like a certain core of a certain group would really love it. I think it'd be a really divisive.
I think it would be more popular than Cyborg Spider-Man. So.
or Havoc with a jacket, right, mate? People hated that. People hated that jacket thing.
That's so funny, because as soon as I saw that, I was like, so we're getting Polaris in her old outfit, right? We need old Polaris.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Chuck her in the gala one. She can have her old costume as like fancy dress or something. Yeah. Very cool.
That's a great idea, though. That's really creative. I like it. My number 2 was one you mentioned already, and that is the last member of Alpha Flight. We need Shaman.
Yeah.
Right. And like that name, I have seen that name so much in the comments. Everybody wants him. There's only one name I've seen more, and I've saved it for my number 1. But like that, like, why not? Where is he? He's this is just another great team that we have collected a bunch of them, and it's time to complete the collection. He might be my favorite Alpha Flight member too, next to Puck. Like, I just love those two. So I want to see him. I want to add that new Maple Leaf to my set of cards.
Yeah, that's a good one. And just shout out to Puck too. That's an amazing model. He's one of my favorite models. He's really cool. Yeah. Good choice. Shaman. Yeah, you're right. Like he's like probably like I always see the polls. Whenever I read the polls, like Mephisto's #1. But in terms of like my experience of just scrolling through stuff, Shaman. Anytime there's like, it's usually Shaman #finish Alpha Flight, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I see his name.
Yeah,
it's like synonymous with that movement.
Yep.
So that's a good one.
There's actually a lot of Alpha Flight characters I would love to see. But Shaman's definitely the one that's like, this is from the original team, guys. Where is this?
Like he's the big missing piece.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, now on to our #1s, our biggest crowd pleasers.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the $200 expansion, of course. This is the massive model, and this is none other than Master Mold, the giant Sentinel factory.
Yeah. That actually makes Sentinels for you. So then all of us who missed out on those Sentinels.
And like you could probably fit the Marvel United location tiles on this thing. You could just have
that'd be awesome. Yeah. Like
it's gotta be big enough that it's bigger than the already existing Sentinels, right? So
yeah. Well, it's got to be that Galactus Marvel Zombies scale where, part of that mode is actually like putting your models climbing all over the actual model and stuff.
Yeah.
So having like a conveyor belt of things or something where he's sitting at the end of it and you're like the locations you're kind of like fighting around there. That'd be cool. Yeah. And then in that box, he could have a bunch of variant Sentinel sculpts as well. So you could have like lots of different ones. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I recently rewatched Slave Island, which is the episode where Master Mold's on Genosha. And I love that it's like they flood the place and Master Mold's getting up, and then it's like, I'm still plugged in.
Yeah, that's so good. With a giant plug. Yeah. Very cool. All right, well,
beautiful.
My last one, continuing the theme of massive cheating and just including a huge collection of characters, is I think the one that I don't know a lot about, but seems to have been very hot over the last, I don't know, decade or how, I don't know. I actually don't know when it started or whatever, but in terms of if you're looking for a bunch of stuff that is missing, that has heaps of new characters, but also heaps of interesting ways to do old characters and that sort of stuff, is you need a Krakoa box set. I think you could hang an entire season around Krakoa. Because there's so many new characters. I feel like this is why I didn't speak up about, because I knew it was coming up in this, which was a different list. But the Cuckoo Girls or whatever, I don't know if they are introduced in this or not. They might have been existing already, but I remember reading those first few issues of this when they were kind of setting up Krakoa or whatever, and they were in it following Emma Frost around. Like, you've got so many different characters that like are bad guys that have joined. Like, I guess that's where you got the idea of using Apocalypse as a good guy back in the day, like in the original season or whatever, or second season of this. But like having his model with the cool robes and all that, the whatever, like a Magneto, Moira McTaggart as a purple, all the Nimrod-y sort of stuff from the future stuff, and all those guys, and that Omega Sentinel, I think she's in it. By the way, there's a cool, I think Martin V might be working on the, he's done a Omega Sentinel. But all of that, like just that whole thing, as much as I don't really love it, like I love the idea of them having their own world. I don't like the idea of them all becoming wood elves and living in the trees and stuff. But like that whole Krakoan thing is like such a different dynamic, different aesthetic, just really, and so many stories to. And how long did it go for? Did it go for like a decade in real life of like issues, or
no? More, or? I think it's just ending now, and I think it started in maybe 2017 or 2018. So
that's still that's about 5-6 years or something, right? Like that's
that's
a big chunk of, like, that's a lot of stories you could plumb for characters and things like that.
There's so many good ones.
You know those Glob Herman guys and all those guys. Are they pre Krakoa, or are they?
Yeah, they started in something, I think it was originally called New X-Men, but the branding of it was like Academy X maybe. And that's usually
Okay.
what I think of them as, is like Academy X. But it was like a giant version of the Xavier School. So there were like
Yeah.
several classes of kids on
Several.
that.
Yeah, but I feel like even if they're not I'm not sure who comes into it that's like a new group or anything in Krakoa, but like I feel like there's probably a lot of new stuff that you could really play around with there and stuff too. So and then you've got that whole world of Orcus and stuff, right? So that's a whole smorgasbord of bad guys to pick from and that sort of thing. So this is probably my biggest cheat of all time, because it's like such a huge, like you couldn't fit this in a box. This would be like almost an entire season itself, with so many different ideas and stuff in this. But I think Krakoa would be a massive mine of stuff, and it's also current and pretty hot. I think I think there's a lot of detractors from it as well. I see a lot of people going, "Oh, good riddance to Krakoa and stuff," but like, and I don't know, maybe I'd be on their side if I actually read it. I don't know, so I don't want to say that those people, I shouldn't put the but I feel like it's popular. I feel like it's like it'd be pretty popular. You'd get a lot of people coming into like that season sort of thing. So you could hang a season on it.
Yeah.
In terms of a crowd pleaser, I don't think you could get more of a number one there, because like, I mean, I'm not a big comic reader. I haven't read a lot. I've always been more of a trading card and cartoons kind of guy. But ever since I've gotten into Marvel United, I've never seen a comic book story mentioned more in my life than Krakoa. Yeah. It's like every comment everywhere, Krakoa, like, and I'm like, what is this? What's happening? Is that the Tree Man? What's going on? There's a ravenous fan base for this, so I think that if that was to become a thing, I know it wouldn't be my favorite choice, but it would be hundreds and hundreds of people's choice. Yeah. So in terms of the people's choice, that's a good one to go for.
I think that and X-Men 97 maybe to a lesser degree, but I think that and like they're the answer to all those folks who say, and that's totally fine to have this opinion, but those folks who say they're scraping the bottom of the barrel and there's nothing left, you could never get enough people to come in. There's nothing you could hang your hat on for another season. They just don't have enough characters that people care about anymore that have a big fan base. Like, oh mate, Krakoa, it's huge. Like, I guess yes, like if you're talking about casuals that aren't into comics, okay, probably not a lot of people know about Krakoa, but as you just said, you don't really follow them that closely, and you still knew that it was a huge deal sort of thing. So I think it's big enough that it's big enough you could make a thing. And I think a lot of people forget, it's like, well, okay, yeah, casuals, but like who's backing a board game about Marvel chibis that isn't someone who what I mean? That's like,
exactly, especially if you're 4 seasons into said board game.
Like Joe Football, who only cares about football and cars or something, like, or Mr. My whole life is about like MasterChef and like I'm a wannabe chef. Like, okay, if their hobbies aren't, they're not on Kickstarter backing board games about Marvel United. The people who are backing Marvel United are people who love comics and all, and I know there's crossover. All those people, there's totally people who are that person who are mad into comics and stuff as well. But like I feel like this whole thing of like, oh, you're not going to draw in enough people. It's like, yeah, I think you will. But anyway, Krakoa.
Great choice.
My biggest cheat, because it's just like, how about everything? My number one pick is everything.
It has to come with a mini of the tree guy, though.
Yeah, you could like Helios 23's made a whole like villain mode of him where like the board itself, like all the locations are the villain, and it's Krakoa, and like
sweet. Yeah.
Like there's so many different ideas with even just the tree guy, like the idea of this big island and teleporting all over the place and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Totally. That whole game modes and stuff. Yeah.
Wicked.
Yeah.
So my number one crowd pleaser is somebody that both of you have mentioned already, so I don't need to touch on her anymore, but the Goblin Queen. That's the name that I've heard the most in the comments. And honestly, I had no idea who it was. I was like, is this like a new Green Goblin? Like, like did Mary Jane become the Green Goblin? Like what? So I had to look it up. I'm like, oh, okay, that's who it is. But it's just a ravenous fan base for this character. And from what you said, Dave, earlier, that she would probably be an anti-hero. So it's another purple character. Why not? Give us all the purple.
Yeah.
Right? So absolutely.
Yeah,
I hope
and she was
Simon was listening.
yeah. Well, she was ravenous, right? All of that was happening before X-Men '97, and I can't see how
Right.
she wasn't
Yeah.
one of the most memorable things to pop up in '97. Probably
Yeah.
only slightly overshadowed. Like she got overshadowed, I guess, by that episode 5. Just
Yeah, true.
that episode, right?
Yeah.
And then Bastion was such a memorable character, but she was a big deal in that season, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
she'd just be super good pick to put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People will
So-
be happy.
Coming back to her again, and why you need to read Dark Web. So have you heard anything about Mary Jane as Jackpot?
Yes.
So my first introduction to that was in Dark Web. I think it kind of started before that, but she's got her own like comic now that's Jackpot. Like
Oh,
I
wow.
think is the thing. I don't know if it's like an ongoing or if it was just part of this event that was some like crime boss event or whatever that was happening. But yeah, I first saw that in there and I was like, whoa, Mary Jane with powers. I like this idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be fun too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. And now we are on to our final list of the night, everybody. And that is, I think it's going to be the most fun list, which is Dream a Crazy Dream, right? This is the Havoc in an X Factor jacket list, right? The things that I think the three of us would sit here and say, Simon's never going to do this, but man, would it be great if Simon does this. And I can't wait to hear what you guys came up with. So we each have 3 crazy dreams to dream. Dave, what is your number 3?
So my number 3 is something that it was requested even in the last campaign. And so when M was released, the first thing that people said is, what about a Penance miniature? And I would love to see Penance. So to me, M as Penance is that's definitely a newer thing. Originally in the comics, M and Penance were 2 separate characters.
Right.
And actually the M kind of like coming together thing, the idea was that it was supposed to symbolize that it was 2 things coming together, right? Because it's twins that are fused together and make the character that is Monet. Whereas Penance was a different character. And eventually they retconned that like Penance is the original Monet and whatever. But yeah, so I'd love to see M separate from Penance and Penance separate from M as 2 separate characters in the classic Gen X story. Plus
like
Penance would be a killer miniature.
Could you imagine painting that? Jesus. Okay.
Or stepping on it.
And is this a different Penance than the one that Speedball becomes after Civil War?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. My question that popped up was this whole thing of the twins living in the same body. In that show Legion, which was a really cool show, by the way. About Professor X's son or whatever, and that scientist guy and the kick butt girl who share the same body but can come out and separate and stuff like that. Are they like a reworking of the idea of M or Monet or Penance or something, or are they a completely different? Are they a completely new character that's got nothing to do with?
So, I think everyone pretty much in Legion was a completely new character, other than Legion and the Shadow King. But they were fun, man. I'd love to see them in the comics at some point, but I don't think we've ever seen those characters show up.
Yeah, because I just thought, that's a similar idea. I was like, is that who that is? But they've just, I was trying to think of their name, and I'm like, was it Monet? I don't know, but yeah, okay, cool. They were cool. They were cool. I liked it. That was such a weird show because I went into watching it not knowing, I didn't know who Legion was. Like I'd heard of Legion, but sort of forgot that I'd heard of Legion, and so I was watching it and didn't associate it with X-Men and stuff. And that first episode just like blew my mind with like, and then when I started realizing it was actually like X-Men and who he was, I was like, what? What? Yeah, it was cool. It was a really cool show. All right, my number 3. So where's Nelly Nell? Is he still in the comments? Get him back here. Bring up that Andrew. Scroll back up 100 messages.
Oh boy.
Put brute force in. All right.
Brute force.
Sorry, only joking. Don't listen to me. All right. Brute force. My God. get these guys in the game. All right, this is not a crazy dream. This is back in Conan territory. Right, this is Richter, this is Hitmonkey style. Right, mate. I will never understand the people in that last. I still see people in comments in Facebook and Board Game Geek and stuff that have the audacity to say stuff like, "Oh my god, I hope it's not like brute force in the last campaign. Those people were really annoying asking for brute force." First of all, how dare you? What? Apologies, Andrew, for making this a bit of a saucy video, but what moron doesn't want a cybernetically altered dolphin that can somehow walk around because he's got a robot suit, kangaroo, eagle, bear, and lion as a team of like do-gooding, awesome superheroes running around in chibi form? What idiot doesn't want those? Like, brute force. When I was like led to understand that brute force existed by a gentleman named Matteo on Discord, ever since then, I've made it my mission to be the champion of these guys. He's the champion of them, actually. Sorry, but I'm like his squire, right? I like to, anytime I can big up brute force. That's what I'm going to do, because that's an awesome idea. They're such a cool group, such a cool concept. They've done a really cool new like one-shot type of thing, or like a limited run, like current issue of it or something. And I don't know what it's on, Marvel Unlimited or whatever it's called. So check it out. It's really cool. They're a really cool team, and they'd make a great box set, great minis. They also have, you could play around, like when we've made the homebrew stuff, you can play around with all these cool things that happen with them. They have these suits that they wear that transform them into, like, they transform into vehicles. So like the dolphin suit turns him into like a little race car. He drives around and stuff. And Deadpool runs into him and turns him into Voltron Deadpool, and they all become his arms and legs and stuff. They're just amazing. It's such a cool, fun concept for a chibi style, big, fun, bold comic book. Feel like what the feel of Marvel United and how that captures the feel of comic books, the big, bold brightness of it and the fun of it. They're the perfect team. And I'll never understand why Simon didn't listen to the very polite and not very incessant requesting. It was always polite requesting of brute force. No one was being annoying about it. And there were always very well-reasoned arguments listed for why they should be in it. And the guy screaming about unleash the jackal or whatever, that was incessant and rude, right? And he got his bloody little henchman art version of him put in the game.
Yeah.
Brute force need to be in this game. You'd get all the kids on board. Forget the pets. Pets, get out of here. Brute force. We want fully playable heroes. That's what we want. Simon, Andrea, Tiago, respectfully, these would be a massive, selling point. I don't know any. I'm a teacher, right? I don't know any person under 12 who doesn't spend all day, every day thinking about brute force. That's all the kids care about, all right? You talk about an untapped market, Simon. Get in there, brute force. That's what we need. I'm sick of being polite about it. Brute force. That's all I can say.
I'm sick of being polite about it. I love that.
I really wish you picked something that you were more passionate about, but I guess we'll just go with that one.
Yeah, that's my number 3, right? Yeah,
great. I want to see that as a prototype for Transformers United.
right. And by the way, Simon, I've already made that. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say. This is another one of those ones where a lot of the team in Discord put these rules together. I just basically printed the cards for them, and came up. I did come up with the vehicle transform mode sort of thing, but. Mate, it's already there for you, Simon. Vehicle transforming mode, it's in there. Get on it.
Right? What a fun group of characters. Yeah, and I mean, they might be the one thing that could dethrone Songbird for your daughter's favorite go-to character, right? And
she's super happy that Big Head, by the way, Big Head Chibis make an awesome range of models for them. She's super happy that I've got those because I did raid her toy basket of all the farm animals and things like that before I had models to use for them sort of thing. And she's super happy. I took her to the aquarium and I bought her a packet of dolphins and things like that. with the expectation that I was going to take the dolphin out of it. And she was super unhappy that I took the dolphin out of the set. She's like, "Why'd you buy these for me?" I was like, "I bought them for myself. You can just have the leftovers." So there you go. Brute force. BF stands for big fun. There you go.
I love it. I love it. All right. What is my number? My number 3 is a little bit of me plagiarizing myself again, but that's okay. This is a villain mode that I want to see. And it's only 50% crazy, guys, because in this group of 4 villains, they've already given us 2 of them. Now we just need 2 more. I want to get the Council of Kangs as a villain, a boss rush, what have you. We've already got Immortus. We've already got King. Give us Scarlet Centurion. Give us Rama Tut. They can be their own separate thing. But then the Council of Kangs as a mode where you got to fight each one and they get progressively harder and harder. It's such a big, like, I feel like Kang and the Council of Kangs go hand in hand. It's kind of hard to have one while ignoring the other. So, like, play with that. Play with the fact that this is a character who's so unique that he has multiple iterations across time and space. No other Marvel United character has that going for them. So let that be a juicy piece of gameplay that we can exploit.
Yeah. That's I think a lot of people are disappointed the way Kang went, like what happened, because everything was building, everything was all coming up Kang, right? And then it all kind of fell apart either with the reception of how that first movie went, or and just all the stuff that happened afterwards, sort of thing as well. So I think there'd be a lot of people who be like, well, if we can't get him in the MCU, let's get him in a real big way in Marvel United. I think people will be excited for that.
Yeah, let's embrace him, and that chibi will never get into trouble with the law, so we don't have to worry about that.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh man, unfortunate.
Yeah.
All right. What are we on number 2?
We're on number 2.
Dave. All right, Dave. What do you got for us?
Okay, this is only the second time I'm cheating, I think, with this one.
Not enough cheating.
So, not enough cheating. So this is one that was mentioned earlier by Rockshire.
Oh right, yeah, Rockstar's got
some
good ideas there.
Yeah, so this is the Exiles box. So you know what? I did plot out a season 4. Let me just go ahead and scroll down to that.
Insider's been through the entire season 4.
So actually, Nocturne I wasn't going to include in this because Nocturne is a character who spent some time in the 616, and I feel like she would probably be like a promo character separate, because like everyone's going to want her to back the project basically. But some notable points here. So Sabretooth from Weapon X. So Sabretooth, that is the one from Age of Apocalypse, but without Wild Child on his back, just like Sabretooth by himself. That's one we need. And then, so you mentioned earlier Vindicator as the wife of Guardian. So Sasquatch in Exiles is not the same Sasquatch from Alpha Flight. It's actually Heather Hudson who became Vindicator, but instead she's the one who became the Sasquatch in her universe. So I actually bought a second Sasquatch so I could paint it up to make for this character, but haven't gotten around to that yet. And then, yeah, the big thing with this would be Hyperion. Hyperion was like this like evil Superman character. He was a big enemy for a while in Exiles, and I think he'd be a blast. And I really liked who else is here that's special. Sunfire in this is not the Sunfire that we have. It is, I think it's Mariko Yoshida. I think she's currently like a red samurai or something like that. She died at one point in his back again, of course, because it's comic books. But there's and Mimic, the classic character Mimic, but this is a different version of him who liked the X-Men for a while. There's so many characters. Oh my god. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of them, but yeah. So this was a hero-heavy box, kind of like the Inhumans box, where it's a bunch of heroes and then one anti-hero, Magic, because she was a hero for the Exiles, but like she kind of betrayed them, sort of, at one point. But she was great. I liked her a lot. And then Hyperion.
Yeah, Hyperion's a name. Yeah. That's a name I've seen a fair bit. Like not as much as say your Goblin Queen and that sort of stuff, but I remember seeing a Hyperion in the comments. People were requesting
Yeah.
that. I feel like Dave, that's a great pick, but I feel like I don't think like that's a crazy idea. I think Exiles are big enough. I reckon that could be like almost like a crowd pleaser, or at least like a safe, like your personal choice what you'd like to see, and actually feel pretty confident that you'd get that sort of thing. So
the big thing is that there's a couple repeats in there because there's more from Exiles, Blink from Exiles, Sabretooth from Age of Apocalypse. So there's a number of repeats because it's like you kind of need the version that was time traveling and popping through dimensions and stuff for Exiles to fit. But there's a bunch of standalone new characters too. But they are kind of a lot of variants of existing characters, which some people complain about.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if people can put up with Cyborg Spider-Man, they can put up with anything. So I think that's fine.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Continuing with the theme of these aren't really crazy dreams. These are just things that need to happen. If we're going to have brute force, number 2 is we need their counterpart, heavy metal. Now, I don't know if you guys know much about heavy metal, Andrew or Dave, but
no.
Heavy metal are the Sinister Six to Spider-Man's. I don't know. Does Spider-Man have a team? Spider Friends, right? So like brute force were this group of like animals that were like genetically engineered by evil scientists or good science. I can't remember, good scientists or misguided scientists or something, turned into living weapons, heroes sort of things. I think the scientist's evil buddy or something was like, I disagree with your methods or whatever, and took off and made his own team or something. Well, they were both working on this team or whatever, but it's basically an evil brute force, all right? Heavy metal. It's amazing. They had a cool name, heavy metal. There's a giant gorilla guy. Forget what his name is. So Gorilla Grodd. Now we're going to be able to have like 2 gorillas. See, more of these primates. We're looking good. There's let's see. There's a. I see if I can remember what they are. There's like a gorilla. I think there might be some sort of sea creature. I want to say he's a squid. Maybe he's a shark. I can't remember. There's like some other bird. Maybe he's a vulture. And I forget the other one. They're really high on my list of things that I know about. I did know them, but I do know that I want them. Right? I do know that they're a really cool idea. And if you like, because you could have a multi-villain battle, you could have them as individuals, you could have the evil scientist that controls them as a guy, and then maybe his henchmen are the different baddies and stuff. Just a really cool. They just keep that whole world of brute force going. And if you got your big fun team of like animal heroes, you've got your big fun team of animal villains as well. Basically it's just a continuation of the brute force idea. Really, it's how I can stretch my brute force. What are the 3?
These guys up.
What are the 5 of them? Yeah.
The brute force names are fine. The character names are fine. The heavy metal names are pretty badass. So the name is Uproar. There's Ramrod, Bloodbath, Tailgunner, and Armory. These are metal names.
They're
like the Decepticons, right?
That
classic. It reminds me of all those like Ramjet and Starscream and all those like cool, badass jets from the Decepticons. All the dinos, cool. The Dinobots like Rumble and Roar or whatever their names.
And I mean, look, if you're going to include any superhero in this game, it would behoove you to include their archenemy. So if you're going to put in brute force, then the next logical step is heavy metal, right? Why would you not do it?
Yeah, why would you not do it? 10
figures, core box.
Yep.
With 5 villains.
Amazing. Yeah.
Listen, if season 4 of Arcadia Quest can be season 4 pets, they can do a core box of brute force. That's
Yeah.
Love it.
So many good ideas, because then you got
Bloodbath so bad.
Right?
Which animal is he?
Let's see. Bloodbath is. Oh man, this character's crazy looking. It's a cybernetically enhanced shark, but it's like the wheels, the tires on it are blades. They're like circular saw blades.
Yeah, see, that's so good.
The
Mate,
fact that
what-
Tiago is not begging to carve these out of plastic right now is beyond me.
There must be some sort of licensing. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think, because there's no logical reason that these weren't the crux of season 1. Yeah. Anyway, that's my dream of crazy. That's my dream. A really realistic, has to happen dream.
Yeah, I love it. That is
Yeah.
the only
Heavy
thing
metal.
crazy about that dream is that it hasn't come true yet. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're on my number 2. I am a big fan of Halloween. I love Halloween. I love monster movies and stuff like that. And very few things give me the same amount of joy as seeing the classic Universal monsters in some kind of team up coming together, whether it's in one of the movies like Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, or whether it's literally just like, hey, look, that box of Count Chocula is right next to that box of Frankenberry. That makes me happy. So I think that this game needs the Legion of Monsters as a new team of heroes. We've already gotten Werewolf by Night. I think Man-Thing is part of that, but now we need Manphibian, the Seaman. We need Simon Garth, the Zombie, and most important of all, my favorite, we need Nkantu, the Living Mummy. Throw those together, and with Morbius and the Werewolf by Night and everything, what a team! What a team! And somebody in the comments mentioned Dracula. He's apparently a big Marvel villain.
Yeah,
Throw Dracula in there too. Make a big box, Legion of Monsters box. I am there day one.
Yeah. There's your theme. Marvel United Season 4 teams, right? We've given them so many teams. They don't know what to do with themselves. But teams, it's finish the teams or just team in a box. There you go. We've got it covered. That's a great. That's an awesome lineup. And I think if we never get it, Big Head Chibis, I think have done the zombie guy at least. I think he's made a zombie guy. I don't know if he's from DC or Marvel, whichever zombie it is, but he's probably in it too. But yeah, that's like kids would love that box, like mummies, and just do it better than Tom Cruise's edition of like the whatever that universe they tried to set up and like stumbled over the first movie.
It's okay, but, that's a low bar. They won't have to worry about it.
I'm confident they will do better than that.
But yeah, monster team, mate. That's as good as like the zoological team. That's good. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why Brute Force is a better name than zoological team. That's why they. Yeah. Good choice. Good choice.
Thank
All
you.
right.
And here we are at last with our number ones.
Yes, number ones.
What is our craziest dream?
So this isn't even that crazy. I don't think I put this in order. But so I'll give you a little backstory on this. Is in the Fall of X era of the end of Krakoa, basically, there was a part of time where Nightcrawler, in order to stay on Earth and still operate as a superhero, masked up, and he became the Uncanny Spider-Man. So he's Spider-Man Nightcrawler, and he's wearing a Spider-Man-y type outfit. And that series is really fun. And during it, he is hunted down by some mercenaries that are hired by Orcus to take him out. One of which is Silver Sable. And Silver Sable is someone we don't have. And I do like her as a character, but I really liked her in this because it ends up being, and this is a slight spoiler, but I don't think you'll mind this. So basically, they have when she's on the clock and when she's not on the clock, and when she's on the clock, she's hunting down Nightcrawler with her team, and when she's off the clock, she's hooking up with Nightcrawler, and it's fantastic.
That's got like 90s. What was that show? What was that show with Bruce Willis and like Moonlighting or something? It's giving me mad like 90s sitcom, like, or not sitcom, but like what do they call that? Where it's like this crazy setup for a serialized show, like yeah. That's cool. That's a really cool idea.
So what I've learned from your explanation there, Dave, is that this Uncanny Spider-Man exists, and yet somehow somebody still said, let's make the cyborg one instead.
Well, it's new. I don't know if they knew about it. Running that, because it just came out this year. But man,
okay.
it's so fun. It's such a fun series. And they even have a moment where they're talking and they're like having a date, and then they interrupt each other with like lyrics from a song, and it's like, what are they talking about? And it's a Leela Cheney song, and then the whole next page is the lyrics to the Leela Cheney song that they both liked from when they were younger. I was like, this is so good.
Wow.
What it proves is that even if they don't take any of our ideas from this video, they're still they could do an entire season on just all the rest of the Spider-Man stuff that's left.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like that's my favorite pocket of Marvel is the
Yeah.
Spider-Man pocket, and Silver Sable's been on my radar for a while as she the anti-hero-ness of her is sitting right there waiting for them to just do it. So yeah, I'm on board.
All right. Well, are we on? So this is my number one, right? This is my final hit. So I'm actually going to mention a couple of things just to sort of mention some things in passing. You were talking about all the Age of Apocalypse stuff, and one thing, it's not on my list or anything, but one thing I really would have loved to see how they tackled it was a 3D model of that unraveled guy, Abyss.
Oh yes.
He'd be really cool. So that's just it's not anything I really want or anything, but like, man, that would have been a cool model to see rather than just a henchman art. Also, we mentioned Fabian Cortez before. This missed one on my list before, but like, I also would I don't really sort of care about them that much, but I think it'd be cool to see all of those Acolyte guys, him and his team. But I don't know that any of them, apart from Fabian Cortez, are interesting enough to have whole villain modes. Apart from Derek's done some cool homebrew ones of them, but to have a whole box of them and stuff, I don't think that they'd probably be more threats under Fabian's villain sort of mode. But let's come back to my crazy dream, right? So brute force is like, that's the thing I really want. The reason this is number one is it's the craziest. I feel like this is the craziest. I feel like brute force, I've already proven how marketable and how awesome that is, and how that's just, it's a no-brainer. It's a layup, right? This is the one I want to finish off all the stuff I started working on with Cameron Hodge, right? Painted up all my original X-Men First Class guys to be the original X Factor team. Got Cameron Hodge. Now I need all the little kids they were looking after. I need the Exterminators. I need Leech, and I need Artie with the big gross giant head. Sorry, Artie, but you've got a gross head. Leech actually, looks surprisingly like not too bad compared to Artie. Artie's just gross. But anyway, so Leech, Artie and Leech, Skids, Rusty Collins. Is his name Rusty Collins? The guy, fire guy.
Fire
It's a bit like Pyro, but Fire Fist. And if we don't get Richter as X-Force Richter, chuck Richter in, because Richter's in this little team of kids that gets rescued and stuff. And I've called them the Exterminators because I think they go by that name at some point, but also the X Factor team, when they're moonlighting as villains and heroes and stuff, go by Exterminators as well. But I think kids pick it up from that. But that group of little characters, I would love to see all those little kids, even if just as companions. Like if we expand the, I know Helios 23's done this. Like he's expanded the idea of pet companions and just made companions, right? They follow the same rules, but they're just little minor characters that follow you around. But yeah, having all those kids, all those little classic kids from back in the day, they're just such a nothing thing that no one would really want or care about. You could in no way market them as a good reason to back the thing. But I would love to see little characters like Leech and Artie and Skids and like we've already got Boom Boom, right? Boom Boom's there. She was in that crew and stuff. So that would be really cool. And there's a little addend, a little thing to that. It's not the same thing, but this is like the most. I don't actually really want them, but Power Pack. There was this comic.
Yeah.
These little kids. It was like this family of kids, and they just had like superpowers for some reason. And they were in all these big crossovers. So when they had like that whole mutant extermination crossover, where like Thor and X-Men and all that sort of stuff were like, people were just getting murdered left, right, and center. All the Morlocks were getting murdered left, right, and center in the Hyde Park and in the sewers and stuff. Power Pack were in that, and in their issue of Power Pack, they were like going down in the sewers, teaming up with Thor and Cyclops or whatever, and fighting murderous marauders or whatever. Like get Power Pack in there. That'd be a little group of kids and stuff. So that'd be like the like Scythe, and you got like My Little Scythe. You could have like My Little First Marvel United sort of thing. Just have some real basic rules and have the power pack in there. But yeah, that's not really my pick. My pick is that group of teenagers that X Factor were like looking out for and protecting and stuff. So and kind of training and stuff. So yeah, they're my number one because I really like that's talk about dream a crazy dream. They're so crazy. I don't actually really want them, but like it'd be cool to see them. So yeah.
Leech is one of those faces that just pops up so much in the X-Men cartoon. Like, I feel sad that he's not in the game somehow. So, yeah, why not?
I feel sad that he got vaporized in the X-Men '97.
Poor guy.
Or Leech.
Man, I was not ready for that. That hurt me more than Gambit, I think. But yeah, all right. That's my number one. I'm not going to sell it as much as Brute Force, but it's my number one.
Oh, I like it. All right, my number one.
This is it.
So I looked at last season. I looked at the multiverse, and I looked at the way we were just sort of head in the clouds like a Disney princess, saying like, someday I'll get a hobgoblin, but probably never. Right, and then lo and behold, there was a hobgoblin. Someday I'll get a Havoc and a jacket, probably, and then lo and behold, right. So I kind of looked at who is the one character that kind of would continue that legacy that I'm just like, wow, it's never going to happen, but there's a 1% chance. And it's funny because it ended up being kind of along the same lines as the Hobgoblin, and very thematically along the same lines as the my Legion of Monsters friends.
Can I guess? Is it Hobgoblin in a jacket?
Well, you might not be wrong.
Okay.
I honestly don't know all the lore, so you might not be wrong. But just a character who I love the look of this character so much is Jack-o'-lantern.
Oh,
that's cool. Just he's a character that I almost never see. I think there's like one frame of a Civil War comic that I have where he's in it, and I'm like, oh, Jack-o'-lantern. I've always loved the idea of somebody with a jack-o'-lantern for a head running around just causing mayhem. I love Sleepy Hollow, I like monster movies, whatever. So the idea of that being a chibi, being in this game, plus he's a Spider-Man villain, so he's a Sinister Six assembled kind of guy. Plus he's usually on fire, so maybe there's some effects on that miniature. Plus he's also been known to work for Mephisto, so he could come in that Mephisto box hypothetically as a minion. But like I've never. I don't think there's any other character right now in all of Marvel besides like Prowler that I want to see that badly in my hands as a figure of this thing. So, but he's so crazy, he's so out there. I don't think I have more than a 1% chance of seeing Jack-o'-lantern.
Well, they've proven that they're not shy about putting Hobgoblin-y or Green Goblin-y characters in, because we had Green Goblin, then we got Hobgoblin, and we got Demo Goblin, right?
Yeah.
So they obviously like sculpting those little gliders and stuff. Does he fly around on a glider?
I think sometimes he does. I really,
a giant pumpkin.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great if he's just inside a pumpkin. Yeah, give it to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I will be next season.
I love more Halloween stuff.
Yeah. Even through DC United, I'm going to be like hoping for some sort of like they accidentally like forget which IP they're using, and they put what's his name? Jack-o'-lantern. Yeah, I hope they put Jack-o'-lantern in. That'd be cool.
Yeah, they're like, oops, oh well.
Sounds like something would be in DC too, I reckon. Some sort of like Jack-o'-lantern character.
Does seem like
So even if we didn't get him, like if we got that if we got some sort of DC model with a Jack-o'-lantern head, and then you could just paint him up, that'd be cool too. So
yeah, I'd be on board with that.
Yeah,
wow.
Awesome.
Well, gentlemen, we did it.
Woohoo! Well, look at there's 3 of us, and we're like 3 hours, so that's pretty good.
Exactly. Yeah. And so sorry, go ahead.
I want to plug in one more character because Halloween themed stuff. So in Dark Web, again, read Dark Web, it's good. Ben Riley's girlfriend gets powers from the Goblin Queen, and she becomes Hallows Eve. And her
my God,
power
that's
is
great.
she has a bag of masks, and when she puts on the different masks, she gets different powers. So she has like a Frankenstein mask, she has a vampire mask, a ghost mask. It's so fun. She's such a cool character.
What a perfect name, Hallows Eve.
Yeah, Hallows
I love
Eve, yeah,
that.
that's cool.
Yeah, that's worth the price of admission just on itself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
I'm very impressed by how little crossover we had there, guys.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
we
Pretty
really
good.
explored so many different avenues. It goes to show, like you mentioned earlier in the video, like the fact that people can still say like there's not enough room for a season 4. I think we just proved them wrong twice over. Like there's
These are
room
the
for a
same
season
people
5.
that said, "Nah, we don't need a second season of Marvel United." And it's like, okay.
I mean, what are they going to give us? Dupe? Oh my God, we got Dupe.
Yeah. I mean, this might be blasphemous to say, but like, I can maybe understand the folks saying, "Oh, I can't afford another season."
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah. But there's definitely, or I don't have enough room. But forget about those. Those are worries for down the track. Don't worry about those worries. What you really want is another season, and just to be excited all again about it and stuff.
My hope is Cool Mini are not going to market these things as like standalone things, So it's like, if you like DC, get DC United. You don't have to have Marvel United to enjoy that,
Yeah.
And same thing if they do another thing and it's like they do Masters of the Universe or Transformers or whatever IP it is, you can play that by itself. You don't have to integrate it with everything else because they don't really integrate story-wise, but they could if you wanted to because they're toys and you can play with them.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get a playset one day. Maybe we'll get
yeah. Oh, that'd be good. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well said. I think there's tons of reason to do some more Marvel United. So
the fan love is there, and I think they know that. So I think it's only a matter of time. Dave, do you have any social media things? Anything you want to plug where people can find you or your work?
Oh, well, I'm on the Facebook thing, but the thing I really like to plug is our wiki, the Marvel United wiki. Let me just make sure I'm saying that right. It is marvelunited.fandom.com, marvel-united.fandom.com, sorry. But yeah, there's a homebrew section there, and you can pop in, and there's tons of homebrew stuff. And there's been a lot of people involved in kind of getting everything cataloged on there, which has been great. And I try to make it so that everything has direct links. I try to kind of downplay like the paid content that's kind of locked away is kind of on its own page, because it's just for fun. Like
exactly.
I don't really understand how people are profiting off of an IP that we don't own, but
it's all fan stuff. It's free. It's free. Yeah, totally. It's good, and it's great to see like that crew of homebrewers like collaborating and discussing ideas and helping each other with feedback and stuff, and more people getting involved. Like the guy that made the apologies. You might actually know his name, Dave. The guy making the Demon Bear and stuff, and all those guys.
The handle is targles.wave.
Okay.
And the project is called Marvel United Fanfare.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a great community on there.
Yeah.
Casper KC. Let me throw that in a comment.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And there's a guy Aniel who goes on and he like gives feedback on the different things as well. He pops up in the comments and like says what he thinks of the different homebrew modes and stuff. And the more sort of voices we have in there giving us their ideas and feedback and stuff would be great too. So feel free to jump on and let us know what you think of the thing. Preferably after trying them. Like obviously you can give us your impressions of what they sound like and stuff, but I'd love to hear about like how you've tried it and is it easy to understand? If we sort of made the rules clear enough, is it overpowered, underpowered, too swingy, whatever it might be. I personally promise to never really take on board any of that advice, but it's good to hear it. So, so no, but yeah, no, so it's actually good. Like Cameron Hodge went through multiple sort of iterations and stuff, and yeah, like so, getting feedback and hearing what people think does help us sort of put out better homebrews and stuff. So,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Really cool. Mm-hmm.
All right, Daniel, what about you? Where can people find you?
Yeah, on my super good channel, the Meeple Monkey, on YouTube, and we just hit. We were talking about this, I think, on the last video, but we finally crossed over the 500 subscribers, which is pretty cool. So I'm like, yay! There's some people that watch
Congrats.
Some stuff. Thank you. So I will. I think what I'll do is I'll post up like some images on the on my, what do they call it, the YouTube community section or whatever on my YouTube channel. I'll post some photos and stuff. I've got this like jar of tokens and stuff, so I want to do some competition-y sort of stuff and have a little video to celebrate. So I'll post this video up for a while so people can sort of have a look at it and make their guesses, and I'll put like some sort of a Google form together or something, so you can sort of guess how many tokens in the thing, because I've got some big prizes to give away and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'll have a little celebratory thing soon. Just sort of celebrating the fact that we hit that number, sort of thing. I don't know how much bigger it will grow, but that was pretty fun, sort of thing. So and on that channel, just if you're interested in the channel, we mostly do a lot of like Marvel United gameplay videos. So I just like playing through all the content. I like showing off different folks in the homebrew communities, homebrew stuff. I try to show off some of the stuff that I'm making as well, and we do sometimes I do unboxings, although I've mentioned I tend to not tend to not kickstart as much stuff these days, so there's not as much stuff coming into to do with that, and I'm very sad. The unboxings are already starting to come through from China with Marvel United, so I'm not going to quite have the exclusives with that, but I'll still, if people are interested in seeing it, I'll do an unboxing of the new season when that comes through and that sort of thing as well. And yeah, so that's, yes, but mainly just lots of gameplay for Marvel United, and I'll try and throw a couple other games in and that sort of thing as well if I can film them. So yeah, anyway, that's where you can find me. So.
Oh, for sure. And of the three of us, you're going to be the first one to get that unboxing happening. So we're looking forward to that.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. There was no update today, so who knows what's going on.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. I guess we're just...
we will virtually be in your living room as you're...
Yeah, that's right. But the last update, though, did seem sort of hopeful. There was a lot more detail, although I think Andrew, was Canada like still NA on that? Yeah. But I'm hoping that's just because we were all NA the previous one, and then it's so I feel like it's not indicative of a problem. I think it's just the actual sort of info coming from the shipping hub or whatever. It just hasn't come through for that particular one yet. But I think it's probably still in the works. I would hope. So.
And I think it's because they're going to give all the Canadian backers a shaman and a vindicator, just to That's probably what's going to happen.
Exclusive.
And you can find me right here on Digital Charcuterie or on my other channel, which is just called Andrew Fantasia. But mostly you can find me on Amazon, of all places, not the River, the website. On the River, I would probably die because I'm a self-published author and I have books there. I have I write adventure novels. This is a science fiction romance called Side Scroller.
Love it.
That is available there. Thank you so much. Yeah, you have read it. Side Scroller was a lot of fun. And then I have this was my life's work. It is We Were Wizards. It is an adventure fantasy about a group of wizards who used to be the cream of the crop in the world until one day they were not for mysterious reasons. And there are 2 books out in the series right now. The first one is the purple one, and the next one to read is this gray one here, We Were Wizards. And those are on Amazon as well in a bunch of different formats. So if you like reading things electronically, I got you covered as well. Guys, thank you so much for coming on to do this wonderful, fun wish list with me. This was a lot of fun to put together and to hear all your thoughts and everything.
Yeah, thanks for having us. That was awesome. I just just looking at your books there, I was like, next United seasons. Like we have a Wizards one. Have your World of Wizards, or like the side scroller. Have like Nintendo Smash Brothers. Like have a Nintendo United. And have all like the Donkey Kong and Mario and all those guys. That'd be cool.
I need
man.
Captain N the Game Master. Is anyone else old enough to remember Captain N the Game Master?
He's the
So
all-in
many
pledge exclusive there. The Captain N.
That's the next video.
Yeah. Oh, I'd be so down for a Nintendo United. All right. Special thank you to everybody in the chat who stuck around on board with us and all their input and everything. That was great. We're so happy to have had you aboard. We'll see you next time on whatever comes next. Again, check out all these guys and their work. And as we continue to just kind of sit here and wait and make this wait for Marvel United Multiverse, a little bit shorter. But a whole lot, so hopefully like much shorter, hopefully like 2 weeks tops, at least for you over there in Australia, and then the rest of us will start trickling in. But until that comes, I hope everybody has a marvelous day. I hope everybody is the master of their own universe wherever you may be, and we'll find out what's next together here on the Master Plan.